All right, welcome to the show. I'm your host, David Wilcock, with nice fluffy hair that's shorter. Back to the good look, not the crazy rough look that I had before. Welcome to the show. This is YouTube Live with David Wilcock. I am so happy that you are here today. Thank you for taking this time away from the Super Bowl to be with me on the air here. And we're already, let's see how many we've got right now. We're already at 638 concurrent viewers. Now, we may have less because the sporting event is a very big deal for a lot of people. I get that. It's not a big deal for me. And I said the show must go on. You know, we do it on Sunday. This is our Sunday time to gather together and be happy with one another. So here we are with the universal heartbeat. How are you guys doing as far as like picture quality? Does everything look good? Do you see everything okay? That's one of the things we want to find out. So just trying to, make sure that everything looks good for you guys. I don't care about the Super Bowl. Whoop, whoop, here we go again. 36% spectators, 10% paid protesters, 24% local protesters. Da-da-da-da-da. Video and audio are good. Okay. My picture quality is a little weird. Oops, and my light is off. I just noticed that. I got to move that for you guys. So let's go ahead and do that right now while I'm thinking of it. This is something that we got to get it right over into the far side so that you can see it when I'm talking. There we go. Okay, perfect. You know what? Making a couple three-dimensional modifications to the set is all just part of the game. And so there we go. Now we've got it in the right position. Lamp looks good. Blue is my favorite color. Hello, David, and everyone in this group, and blessings to you. I was going to say blue shirt. I should have gone with my gut. Watching sports is not my thing either. I do enjoy ice skating more for the art than the sport. Ross Feinstein says, today's Super Bowl may have a sign in it of who's still in control. Curious if the halftime show is still going to be strange or something more neutral and positive. That's same thing I'm wondering about, man. Same thing I'm wondering about right now, but you know what? We're going to figure this all out together. We're here again. You're only getting one audio stream, somebody says. Well, that's Deborah Ouellette. No, as far as I can see on my side, we are broadcasting in stereo. All the stereo. Oh, well, actually, it is a little bit down. You're right. Thank you for that. That should fix it. Wow, you really caught that. That's great. So yes, that was just an error on my part based on the volume sliders, and you caught that. But we just fixed it, so that should alleviate any problem that you were having with hearing me in one side. That's better. Now it's good. You're fine. Kid Rock is an alternative instead of Bad Bunny. Love you more than Elvis. Well, I got similar sideburns, I guess. That's part of why that trope keeps coming up time after time. Now it's in my left ear. The audio has a leftist leaning. Well, it should be good now because again, I've got it cranked to the right setting so that it should be fine for everybody. David, can you explain Casey's idea about people who have no soul but are here to play a part helping humans in their... I've never heard Casey say that, but there's probably a lot of disinformation out there now about the Casey readings and that kind of thing. Anyway, let's talk about our topic a little bit. Let's kind of get that started. Today we are going to be talking about the universal heartbeat. And that is a very exciting subject for me because it ties together many of the things that we have been covering over previous weeks of content, getting into this concept of the idea that the universe is powered by some type of rhythm, and that this rhythm actually is a pulsating rhythm that goes in and out, similar to your heart. And so once again, we're going to see that there is a holographic relationship between the rhythms of your own heart and the rhythms of the universe. Probably an AI Casey, that's right. Thanks, bro, it's all right now. Did I miss any Angry Daddy? No, you have not, but he will probably show up at some point. I love your paper on the universal heartbeat from Divine Cosmos. Thank you. That's Matthew. He goes way back. So we have people who are all the way back to when I used to write long scientific articles on my website. And yes, we are going to cover some of that material again. We're up to 1,333 viewers right now. It's pretty amazing. Oh, there's our first one. Little Tiny Joe just donated $50. Hi, David. Thank you as always. Namaste. Thank you, Little Tiny Joe. I'm so happy that you're here. So happy to have all of you here, and we love the donations, so you can do that. That's great. I'm here since the Financial Tyranny Report, and before, says 2110 Ashman. That goes back a long time. So we're looking at the idea that the universe is alive, the universe is conscious, and you are a fundamentally holographic part of that consciousness. And it's a very good thing to remember this in the midst of all the pain that's going on, all the terror that's going on. It's a very intense time to be alive. I get that. There's a lot of disruptive things going on, but we want to keep our focus resolutely on the positive. Makes sense that a collective consciousness would have a collective heart. That's true. So this is kind of a big reveal about the universe, the idea that there's a great central sun, the idea that it oscillates with this rhythm. These are exciting concepts, and it's something that's been near and dear to my heart for a long time. So I'm not afraid to go out there and talk about this. I'm not afraid to buck the trends of, social media, and not just doing if it bleeds, it leads, or, the rage bait or clickbait or whatever. This is something that it's going to attract real seekers. It's going to attract people who really are looking for something more than just the mundane, everyday content that is already out there. And that's what I like to give you. So I'm happy to be here, man. I'm happy to be doing a good job for you guys. We're going to try to keep this show maybe a little bit shorter here because, it's been a very intense week for me. But, that's good because that way you don't have to hang out forever and get back to your own stuff. But anyway, Bonnie Demlong donated $20. Thank you very much for that, Bonnie. You're one of our great supporters. I never miss a Sunday. I'm glad to be back live this week. Happy Sunday from Barrie, Ontario, says Frank Barter. And then we have Charlie Winner, who's also donated quite a bit over time. Thank you very much. Happy Sunday, family of David. Stay balanced in peace and love. And then we have Dr. Phil. Happy Sunday from your number one Boston fan, Dr. Phil and Elizabeth. All right. So yes, one of the things that's kind of been sad for people is Bitcoin is crashing. But, if somebody has been using that currency as a way to sort of hedge their money and hold on to it for a rainy day, well, the rainy day has come. Liquidating Bitcoin, turning it into cash is another sign that things are getting really squirrely out there. And so, COMEX Silver Future Market opens at 6 o'clock. Get ready. That was just deleted. That's okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, good to see you today. Somebody says, hello, chat family. Anyway, Indigo is saying to hold on to it. I don't know. I'm not going to give any financial advice here, and I'm not saying that I have any special knowledge about what will or will not happen, but I would just encourage you as the viewer at home to be careful and to recommend caution and not over irrational exuberance. Okay, but again, our topic here is the universal heartbeat. And I want to also say that I want to thank you guys for showing up for me today because, we do sincerely love you. I'm very happy that you're here. Just want to make that clear. I do a little bit of polish on my face. Makeup is not quite even, but that's okay. You guys know that we got to kind of dip in and out sometimes to have it be perfect. In fact, let me do a little bit more on my nose as well, just so we get everything kind of looking a little more blended here. All right. Okay, good enough. So anyway, I'm happy, man. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be here. Happy for the good times we can share. And I'm happy that you guys are also, able to be here with me. So we have Master Kenobi donated, and he says, nice synchronicity with your show. Tonight we have, what does he say here? I just lost it. A meteor shower from Alpha Centauri. Bring in wisdom. Namaste. Wow. And we're already up to 1,400 viewers. So you guys are rolling in quick, despite the fact that I'm competing with the illustrious Super Bowl. No big deal. We still have lots of people showing up, and that's pretty great. So, again, thank you for being here. It's awesome to have you guys here. Just make sure my face doesn't look too sweaty. I just got shine, as they call it in the industry, but whatever. We can't really do anything about that. So the gematria is all over this Super Bowl and what it's doing. Yep, beautiful day here in the Colorado Rockies. Well, we don't have any sun, which kind of sucks, but you know, it's at least pleasant. It's not unpleasant. They call it the stupid bowl at my house, says Karen Burns. Oh my God. Time to come clean with everything. Yeah, that's the times that we're in, and we're having some very intense solar activity right now. We're going to get into that in a little bit. It's just a very intense time to be alive. There's no getting around it. The times that we are in are full of challenge and difficulty. Vicky Crew Fuller donated, says, may all beings be peaceful and well. Thank you very much. Powder helps with the shine, LOL. Yeah, well, I don't even have any down here today. So we just have to go with what we got. You know, we can scrub at it a little bit like that, but that only just makes it more red. Doesn't really solve too much. Oh my goodness, we had our first big donation. This is Matthew D. Hawk, $100. Thank you, David. Sending everyone peace, light, and love. Together, our collective consciousness will bring light and love to the world. All right. So thank you, guys. And yes, the universal heartbeat. What is it? Why does it matter? How does it happen? And what is the relevance to us today? When you tune into your own heartbeat, you are actually tuning into a hologram of the cosmos. It's something that's within us. It's something that's within stars. It's something within the interiors of planets. And it also happens in the galactic center, that there are these pulsations that occur, these oscillations as they're called. They go in and out, and that actually creates an enormous amount of energy that vibrates the material around us and creates this sacred geometry. It also creates the spacings of the planets, the orbits of the planets, in some very, very exciting ways. So I'm really happy about it. I'm really happy that we have the opportunity to expand on what we were already talking about and bring it into a wider context. And it means, once again, that we are holographic beings, that the things that we think are happening inside of ourselves affecting the outside, they do. Your heart rate, your heartbeat is a part of this universal blueprint of evolution. And that's pretty exciting, because when you tune into your soul, it's a very difficult time to be here right now, and I get that. You remember that you are sincerely loved, and I know for myself that I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you being here with us today. You chose me over the Super Bowl. That's pretty big. And I'm sure the Super Bowl's halftime show will be totally normal. There's not going to be any weird symbols or weird things going on whatsoever. Of course not. That would never happen, right? It's just very, very logical, normal stuff. Yeah. Well, we know that's not the case. We know that there's some very odd things that happen, and you know, it's been, although they've kind of dialed it down, it's gotten less crazy in more recent years. But you know, some of them have been pretty wild. Oh, it starts in 4 hours or so there's plenty of time. Okay, well, then I'm not actually competing with it. I'm actually getting out ahead of it. That's good. 3i Atlas had an audible heartbeat. Pats versus Seahawks starts in 4 hours. Okay, well, then you don't have to miss it. You can watch this show, and you can still see the Super Bowl if you want to. Do a live review of the show for us. Well, I won't be on the air by then, but anyway, we'll. You know, I'm not trying to create a bunch of trouble. We're just trying to talk about the universal heartbeat, talk about fun things, spiritual things, and get us to the next level of our own curriculum here. Because again, once you recognize that the universe is alive, the universe has a consciousness, that consciousness intersects with yours, that's a big deal. That really kind of takes a whole new perspective on everything, where you're starting to see that you are connected. You are integrated with the universe. You are not separated from the universe. And that, to me, it brings a lot of hope, and it brings a lot of peace to me, because I don't want to be feeling cut off. I don't want to be feeling isolated, left behind. We want to feel integrated. We want to feel connected. And yeah, let's see. Somebody just wrote the SATA word, and then it got automatically cut. That was James. So you can't, certain keywords, please do not say. We want to keep this friendly, family friendly. Roger Zubarik says, don't worry about your shine. You always shine. Donate $20. Thank you very much, Roger. Yeah, it looks fine. I look good enough right now, so we're not going to worry about it. Anyway, yes, certain keywords, including the one having to do with the adversary, the ultimate adversary, they're not even going to make it. So just certain things you just don't want to type in there. And anyway, we thank you for everything. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being part of this team and being part of the grand effort that we're making to raise consciousness. Even all those things that happen that are difficult for us, we're still keeping it real. We're still keeping it alive here. 7 geometric thought forms. Many people care about you. Everything is going to be okay. You're helping people all over the world. Thank you very much. All right. So anyway, it's a good time to be alive. Oh, RW Phoenix came in with the whopper $333 donation. My goodness. Thank you very much. Namaste, David. Thank you for all you do and the truth you spread. I'm eternally grateful for your courage and strength. God bless you. Wow. God bless you, RW Phoenix. That is incredible. We're very grateful for you to be here today. Geometric, that is beautifully stated. I don't know what geometric said. But anyway, you guys have your own thing going on in the comments. And why is it so dark I can hardly see you? People say that sometimes, but it's just a function of lighting and, you know, how I'm doing the show. I guess I have a dimmer shirt on today, so it's a little bit harder for me to stand out against the background, but just crank up your contrast a little bit if you have to. Crank up the brightness or something. That will help quite a bit. The universe is alive, and when you think about what that means for you today, your consciousness is holographic. Your consciousness is very integrated with what's going on. And you also have geo-consciousness. This is a very important point. We are all interconnected with one another on the level of an earth-based mass human consciousness. And this is one of the heartbeats of the universe, is the heartbeat of the public. The heartbeat of what's really going on out there, the heartbeat of how we're all thinking and feeling and integrating with one another. And that makes it tough, man. It's tough when everybody is going through hard times and is going through suffering right now. Makes it more difficult for us to just be integrated with one another. I believe med beds would bring a lot of folks into awareness, somebody says. So med beds will help, but the point is that we're going through an evolution. So right now, the planet is going through hardship. We're going through difficulty, but that difficulty leads to transfiguration ultimately. And the transfiguration is very exciting to me. The idea that this is not just going downhill quickly, but that we're actually transforming into something that we as a species are going through ascension. Our whole civilization, let's see if I can get some of that hair down. Our whole civilization is actually going through an ascension process. And how exciting is that when you start to frame everything that's happening in the world, that there is a massive species evolution predicted by 35 different cultures, and how that all unfolds. Well, we have lots of things happening that are very intense, and we know that the end is going to be positive because, again, we've talked about the hero's journey. We've talked about that there are universal blueprints for our evolution, that these times are very hard times. I get that, you know, and so that's part of the blueprint. Part of the blueprint of what we are in right now ties back to prophecies that are thousands of years old, in which we were told that the world was going to go through some very intense hardship as we got to the end of this heavy-duty initiatory phase where the whole planet goes through something equivalent to a pyramid initiation all at the same time. And we are absolutely going through that right now. We are absolutely going through a revolutionary upheaval unlike anything we've ever seen. This is a new experience for humanity. So with it comes the revelation of things that we had not seen before. Hence, the book of Revelation is the book about ascension. Ascension is about understanding things that you didn't know before. Some of those things are going to be upsetting. Some of those things are going to be traumatic, chaotic, and very difficult. So I encourage you right now with me to just breathe, because it can be very difficult just to stay calm. So part of what we're doing here as we work on this together, as we get together, as we have our time together with one another, is we are trying to stay relaxed. We want to be perfectly relaxed. We want to be perfectly in sync with our own consciousness, because again, it can be very difficult for us just to have the most basic happiness that comes from relaxation, the most basic happiness of just being able to relax and stay calm. You know, that doesn't just come easily. It takes a lot of practice. So today is a very special day for us. Today is a day where we get to be together. We get to enjoy each other's company. Keep those comments coming. I'm going to keep reading them. It is revolutionary, she says. Yes. So, yes, today is a day where I want you to be focused on your own positive consciousness and not get mired into this negativity. Thank you for the mystery teaching, says M. Runderhill. For the first time in history, we recently had 17 comets in our solar system. I did not know that. That's right, Charlie Winter. Darkness must be exposed so space can be taken over by the light. It's a necessary part of ascension. Yes, the light comes after darkness. That's one of the things the Alliance just said, and it's very beautiful and true. So we don't want to be left behind. We don't want to be left in the dust with our own consciousness being dragged down by fear and negativity and pain. And when you start to understand how holographic the universe really is and how these principles affect us all, it's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. The universe is not scary. The universe is not a bad thing. We have learned about these things, these hidden truths, for a long time. So for us, it's like it's old hat by now in some ways. But for a lot of people, they're learning things new that they didn't know before. And that comes through a dark night of the soul. So because so many people are having a dark night of the soul, you're going to experience a mass consciousness effect, whether you realize it or not. Your own consciousness is going to be dragged through various levels of pain and difficulty just because it is a mass consciousness effect that is happening. But your heartbeat, the universal heartbeat, it connects you to the divine. And another form of heartbeat in a way is like your breath too. So your breath is fundamentally connecting you to the divine as well. Voidwalker Mark says, sending high vibrations, David. Thank you very much, Mark. So your breath is your holographic key, as is your heart rate. But the heart itself is a very significant thing. It's a very important part of this process. Once we start to get into some esoteric material on the law of one, about the universal heartbeat and how this all really works, that's coming later in the show. I've also got some really great inspirational quotes that I stumbled over this week from the law of one that I think you're going to really enjoy, about the discipline of personality, the knowing of the self, and the application of the will. Those three concepts in particular, we're going to delve into those as well. They're beautiful concepts that are really going to help us a lot. And throughout the day, we're going, well, it's not going to be a day, it's going to be a couple hours, but we're going to meditate on the heartbeat. Because again, your heart rate is essential when you start to understand that that same pulsation that drives blood and you know, lymphatic is more when you're walking around, but still there's some degree of lymphatic movement from your circulation. But let's just stick with the circulation. Your blood is essential to keep you alive. If you lose oxygen to your brain, you very quickly will die. So the heart is an essential component of staying alive. Your heart is beating all the time. It has to beat all the time, or else you're not going to be here. And that's one of the things of clinical death, is the cessation of heart rate, brainwave activity, and respiration, those three things. And then some people have near-death experiences where in the process of clinical death, they actually still go into an afterlife, and they all experience very similar stuff. We'll talk about that in another show, but Dr. Michael Newton got it down to 10 basic phases of the afterlife that are all essentially very common when you hypnotize people. They all seem to have the same experiences, which I find incredibly fascinating. So your heart is an essential component of you being alive. It's an essential component of you being here with me right now. And Andre just donated and says, I'm in shock, David. After years of researching all the rabbit holes, last week it dropped. It confirmed so many things. They are worse than I could have imagined. Christ has already won this war in the future. Well, again, if a lot of people here have been seeing this before, and wow, Sunflower Life, just donated $333 and again gave us a Joel Goldsmith quote. So that's really wonderful. Sunflower Life, thank you so much for doing this every week. You really do help us meet our bottom line requirements, and I'm very appreciative of that. The universal heart. It's a quote from Joel Goldsmith on the universal heart. When we recognize God as our being, we become members of the household of the divine, saints in the spiritual kingdom. There is a complete surrender of self into the infinite sea of spirit. I love this. The good of Creator flows to us through all who become a part of our universe. It's beautiful. So anyway, so many things. The previous person, Andre, was saying, my God, it's so much worse than I thought. It's so awful. Okay. Not more than what people who have been studying this were already seeing. This is something that's just becoming aware on a larger level, and that's okay. Red to Black Prophets donated $25. Thank you very much. The drop is the most important thing right now. Anything else is a distraction. Well, yes, but I don't think it's a distraction to help you stay positive, because again, when you start tuning into this information, when you start tuning into this knowledge, man, it can be upsetting. And I get that. I myself do not want to dwell on it right now because, again, I've looked at this since really very intensively since the year 2000. I know what's going on, and we don't have to spend so much time being completely overwhelmed by it. And so that's okay. It's a good thing to take stock of who you are and what you're doing right now and be able to recognize when you can step back, and you don't need to immerse yourself in so much negativity. That's what my show has been about week after week, is reaching out to you on a personal level and helping you understand what's really going on. So the heart is not a pump. That's right. It's all interconnected in a big system, and the whole, it goes both ways. The veins and arteries are also pushing back, and we're going to see how this all fits together in a beautiful way. So I think one of the things I'd like to do is we're going to meditate on the heartbeat. So let's just have a little brief pause here. We'll begin by tuning into your heart. So let's just now close your eyes and start to feel your heartbeat. Start to feel your heart inside your chest. Tune into your heartbeat. Feel that pulsation of your heart and recognize your divine connection. Just let yourself relax. Feeling your breath. It takes a little while sometimes to tune in, to feel that stillness, but you can do it with me together now. You can tune into your heart, feel the gentleness. It's there. Recognize that you are not alone. Feel yourself and your heart connecting you to a greater reality. Feel yourself integrating with stars and planets, nebulae, galaxies. Feel the expansion and the radiance of your consciousness. Tune into your pulse. Feel it. Let it just be what it is. Something that is such a big gift, keeping you here, keeping you in this third dimensional reality. Taking nice deep breaths, you wake up into this holographic projector, the human body. You're projecting yourself into this form, projecting yourself into this reality, experiencing the glory of what it is to be human. experiencing the glory of what it means to be alive. Just easing with that flow, easing with that resonance of the heart. Keep feeling your heart. For this is a holographic connection that imbues you with so much light and love. Each pulsation is a loving radiance moving through you, revivifying your cells, helping you calm and cope and be at peace with anything and everything that may be happening in your life right now. Just feeling so much relaxation, so much peacefulness, stability, tranquility, and the remembrance of who and what you are behind the veil of forgetfulness that we talked about last week. Remembering your divine essence, remembering your true self, knowing yourself for who and what you are. Such a beautiful thing. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. You are a radiant, exceptional being. Thank you very much, Beverly. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. Keep meditating. Keep feeling that peace. Keep feeling that warmth. The heart is a warming factor. It's a loving factor. Feel the love welling within you. Feel the love that you can have for others. To be able to allow them to be who they are, to accept their idiosyncrasies. Feel the heart and its love for yourself. For if you can't give love to yourself, then you sure can't give it to anyone else. And therefore, we always remember the connection that we have within ourselves. The connection that keeps us whole and complete and pure. The connection that rises above the difficulties of our lives. The connection that keeps us radiant, keeps us aware, keeps us striving towards the light, striving towards that infinite consciousness that never is very far away from us. It's always right there. If we were but to perceive it, it is so innately visible to us. Feeling that heart, feeling that rhythm, feeling that pulsation, and knowing that whatever comes up for us on earth right now, whatever we may be looking at, whatever upsetting or difficult things have come our way in late recent past, we are okay. We will be okay. The world is benevolent. The world is taking care of us, and we are taking care of the world together in a symbiotic relationship. And we're loving that fact. We love who we are. We love what we're doing here. We love this planet. Even the striving, the difficulties, the opportunities for growth, we love those opportunities. We're grateful for our own lives. We're grateful for being here right now. And we thank you, Father, Mother, God. We thank you so much for what you're giving us, for the glory that we can share with one another, the glory that brings us closer and closer together as we stretch out our hand towards the divine and accept that miracle healing that is always and ever present and possible at this time. And so it is. Amen. All right. So I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. A little meditation is always something that kind of jump starts everything. We had a donation from Beverly Adams. Thank you. She says, we've taken into our home my husband's brother who has Kool-Aid-induced dementia and his wife. I'm in and out of the live broadcast today, but totally with everyone in spirit. Okay, thank you very much. And I'm sorry about that. But, you know, that's how we can communicate. Angela says, this is a very wise statement. The most profound inner experiences occur in the quietest of moments. Yes, I like that. So yeah, let's not be too upset about our lives anymore, because you know what? Life is worth living. Life is worth being taken at face value, and you have so many challenges going on. It can be really difficult. I get that. But why not? Why not grab the bull by the horns and let's just get out there and make this thing happen, because we've got so much to look forward to. As the planet moves forward, we've got a radiant ascension experience headed our way. And even these difficulties and these challenges that we have, they're not really that difficult. We can rise above the things that hold us back. We can live in our true, authentic personality, which may be the personality of the Creator. You know, when you are living in inspiration, when you feel yourself being taken on board, this higher consciousness, and you're feeling that new thing, tune into your heart, man. It really does help, because once we go through the things we're going to learn today about the heart, it really does help how this is going to be. So anyway, it's all good, and we can be happy that we've got things happening for us. We can be happy about our lives the way they are now. And, you know, we even bless the trolls too. So heart coherence is so very important, studied by the Heart Math Institute. That is absolutely right. The Institute of Heart Math taught us that those who have the greatest coherence synchronize with other people around them. So when someone is in an apartment building and their heart rate is the most coherent and consistent, other people will start to vibe into that heartbeat. So, David, did you get my book about dreams that I sent you? So grateful for everything you do. Lucid dreams. Okay. I'll look through the packages. I have some packages I haven't opened yet. I've been very busy, but I did get some packages, so I will check them. Thank you for that. So anyway, we've got some good stuff going on here, and I'm happy to be here right now. So, man, they're just lining up. They're just lining up to be blocked right now. God bless the trolls. That's right. Anyway, I've been having very vivid dreams lately. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being a part of this co-created reality, and I'm very grateful for it. And we love you. You know, it's even the haters. Thank you for whatever you feel like you have to share. I guess that's all I can say. My gosh, there's a lot of them today. So anyway, we keep on going. Anyway, so let's try to be positive. Let's try to focus on what we can do together here and how we can get through this. I encourage you to feel your heart rate and focus on your connection. And remember that you are a divine emanation of pure consciousness. This is a very important point. I don't know why people think this is so funny. But again, what we're dealing with right now is some very upsetting stuff. There's some great difficulty going on in the world. And so what's the harm in giving people a positive message? 7 geometric thought forms, we all care about you, sir. You're doing important work. Your meditations propagate love and compassion. The stream is strong. Just put on Chopin's Nocturne in E flat during the meditation. Well, that's cool. Thank you. Haters are going to hate, says health, healing, and happiness. That's right. So we're not too worried about that. You know, we focus on the positive. We focus on what's really, you know, happening in the world, and there's a lot going on. So the heart rate, the universal heartbeat connects us to the universe, and our own heart can be something we can tune in on. That's your gift. You have it within you all times to be able to tune into your heart, to feel that things are good. And yes, it is crazy out there, but we're doing the best that we can. I believe a meditation effect being generated by the Monk's Walk for Peace is having a profound effect. Watching videos on their YouTube page gets you into a heart space, says Kat Carroll. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're very excited about the Monk's Walk, and I'm glad they're doing it right now. We are holding true at almost 2,100 viewers at the 40-minute mark, which is great. So thank you guys for being here. And more haters because portals are open from the Olympics, which was horrible. Okay, well, I don't know if that's what it is, but anyway, they're here. So our light irritates the trolls, says Charlie Winter. That is true. So you are a divine emanation of pure consciousness. And let's remember, as you guys are talking about why is it so rough right now, one of the things we're dealing with right now at the moment is this massive solar activity. There is massive solar activity going on right now. And I'm going to review that with you in just a second because it's got really important context for our overall discussion. And solar activity in terms of science, these alternative pieces of science that we've gone into, it is correlated with extreme social upheaval. So as the sun does its stuff, as the sun goes through its own very intense energetic phenomena, we see that the society itself is also doing the same thing. So that's a big part of this, man. It's part of how we live through these changes and learn what's going to really work for us, is that we apply the knowledge that we have. So when the sun is going crazy, we know from our studies that this is going to have a huge effect on the way that the planet works, on the way that we work as a society, the way that our lives are functioning. This is very, very intense stuff. And it was discovered by researchers such as the Russian researcher Tijevsky, where we do know that there is an 11-year sunspot cycle. And so every 11 years, the sunspots get to be very, very bright and radiant. They get to be a lot more intense than they were before. And did you hear about the Golden Gate Bridge being hit? That is holographic. I don't know. Did it get hit by lightning? Or I'm not really sure what you guys are talking about there. But anyway, somebody else knows. Oh, GFIs are blowing from solar flares. Okay, well, yeah. I don't know what the Golden Gate Bridge thing is. If somebody else can fill me in on that, I'll be happy to listen to what you have to say. Let's see if I missed anybody's donation. No, it looks like I'm good. And we're very happy to have you here. So, not concerned about what the sun is doing. I focus on what I give my focus to and allow my vibration to rise. Well, it's sort of like astrology. We can kind of look at what the sun is doing as a type of solar astrology, where, again, Tijevsky, other researchers, they looked at an 11-year cycle that the sun naturally does, and what they found out was that every 11 years, as the sunspots rise to a high level, we get social upheaval. We get major, major changes in the world, major, major changes in our own lives. This is nothing insignificant. It actually heats up the public. It creates a type of what I like to call spiritual heat. It's a very real thing. You know, there's a phenomena that occurs with the temperature, the spiritual temperature going up. And so, anyway, that's not what we were talking about. But does anybody else know anything about what's happening with the sunspots? Rather with the Golden Gate Bridge. But certainly, you know, we're not looking at it being hit by. Anyway, you know, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, if you guys have some things, it would be fine. So it's all good. We're happy to be here today. We're happy to have you here, and I love it. I'm happy that I'm around, and I'm happy that I'm on the air. You know, trolls need more unconditional love. That's true. Thank you for everything. Yes, the universal heartbeat gives us a gateway to connecting our consciousness to other aspects of reality, and so the sun. One type of heartbeat is this 11-year sunspot cycle. It creates a type of spiritual heat in the public. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's like a raising of vibration. But in fact, think about it like you're trapped in a room and then the temperature goes up. That's what I'm actually saying. The heat of the sun is essentially a spiritual heat that makes us have this greater intensity inside our psyche. We feel riled up. We feel challenged. We feel, you know, very intense. And so when Tijevsky looked at history and looked at the progression of time, every 11 years, right in line with the historic ice core data of sunspot activity, my God, when the sunspot activity goes up, there you have it. You've got these surges in society. You've got revolutions. You've got upheavals. You've got overthrows of governments. All kinds of interesting things happen. Plus, you get scientific advancements, you get breakthroughs, you get good things. It's not all bad things. It's a raising of vibration, and so what that does is it takes everything that's not love and shoves it out into the open. So wherever there's hidden pockets of negativity, wherever there's distress that hasn't really been processed by the mass consciousness yet, that's the stuff that comes up. That's the stuff that brings up to everyone's consciousness what they're really doing here, what's really going on here. where they are, where it matters, and why. So it is, again, a raising of the vibration. We have Patricia Moran. She says, thank you for all you do. God bless you and us as well. That's great. Hit the like button, please. Yes, let's do that. So I want you to be aware of solar astrology, because solar astrology is part of what is affecting us. It's part of what we're dealing with. It's bringing us through the reality that we experience. We're not just living in a dead Cartesian universe of cause and effect. We have other causes that have other effects that are not immediately available to the traditional materialistic worldview, the traditional paradigms. And remember, it's not just war, although wars typically do happen during high sunspot activity. One of the reasons I'm so worried right now about what's going on, just want to stay ahead of these things, it's also new breakthroughs. New breakthroughs also occur that have the effect of bringing the hidden out into the light. So the hidden is a very important part of this. If you look at addiction, the pathologies of addiction, the main thing that sustains addiction is hidden, keeping it hidden, not letting people know when you're struggling, not letting people know that you have a problem, hiding those weaknesses from others and not sharing your own struggles and pain. And I'm sure that there's many people here who have, problems with that too. I mean, we've definitely got a wide, diverse array of audience here. Forgive your enemies. They have no more power over you, says Kindness for Critters. Justice still needs to happen. That's right. We have a new eclipse season starting soon. Yeah. So wow, we're up to 2,224 viewers. We're hitting our marks here. This is great. I'm glad that you guys can be with me here today. The new chatbot social network is honestly very creepy, says Ross Feinstein. And so it's, I'm a cannabis addict. You got me. Ha ha ha, says Oliver. Well, sorry, but I went through that myself. I'm now sober from it, and I think that I've gotten better. I've gotten better overall. Maybe I'm not as funny as I used to be, but I certainly am fighting the good fight for you guys, and I'm out there with everybody. Forgive the negative. Yes, that is part of what we ultimately want to do. You don't want to be stuck in the profoundness of judging others. You want to recognize where they're coming from, even those who are negative, and be able to exercise compassion, because some people have been through so much crap that they just can't think positively. They're just stuck in their own negativity, and we bless them. We don't want people to be stuck in negativity. So when you live through the heart, when you live through the open vessel that the heart can give you to the universe, you are living your authentic life. You are living in harmony with creation. And that is so significant. It's such a beautiful thing. Funny, I was literally dying. I stumbled upon David and the meditation he demonstrated, and it keeps me alive. That's great. You're still very funny, and you make lots of people laugh, says Alto Bottom Jeans. David, I'm withdrawing from cannabis. Do you have any advice? Well, yeah, I mean, when both times I did it, I tried to go cold turkey, but sometimes titration is okay too if you got to kind of get off of it slowly. But remember that there's good stuff online you can look at where you're going to look at the last time that you did it, and then you got to count a certain number of days before you'll be able to start like sleeping again, and before your body's going to regulate itself. And those timelines worked fairly consistently with me, although I still have never really been able to sleep properly again. I think this was the effect of having used and just all the stress and stuff that I've got going on in my life. But yeah, I encourage you to take advantage of the amazing information that you can get now online, and how there's a really nice timetable that I think holds pretty true about getting off of the stuff. So again, the sun's heartbeat is partly the 11-year cycle. Whoops. And we are in the middle of this major beat right now. It has reached this point where all the hidden stuff is coming to light. And so I am just proposing that understanding set and setting right now, where we are, what's going on, involves seeing this solar heartbeat. That is part of the universal heartbeat, is recognizing what's going on and how we get there. How do we get back to our own divine state? And how do we tune into our own heartbeat and recognize that there's other heartbeats around us that are affecting us? And That would include like the orbits of the planets, astrology. And this is a solar type of astrology. This is an 11-year cycle that the sun keeps throwing at us that really dramatically affects what we're doing and how we're living and how we breathe and how we feel. We're in the middle of this right now. The sun, believe it or not, just released 10 X-class flares just this past week. That is the highest class flare we have. So when you look this up right now on Google, you see CNN one day ago. This was on Saturday. I did this slide. Scientists warn of severe space weather. Intense solar flares from AR 14366 on the sun are potentially disrupting satellites. And we have 10 X flares released. Solar storm alert. Sunspot 4366 produced 10 X flares this week, including an 8.1, causing radio blackouts and potential auroras by February the 5th. That was 3 days ago. The other one says an astonishing 9, and obviously that 9 is going to be solar flares, X-class flares. I mean, look, we're going to see this in just a second. X is as high as it goes. So again, the solar heartbeat, the universal heartbeat, the solar heartbeat is very active. It's pumping right now. And if you go back and look at all the Chajevsky data, which is beyond the scope of our discussion today, that really does bring us to a higher level of vibration. And it's a higher spiritual energy that's flowing through our bodies that does have some very profound effects on us. So I want you to be clear. You know, look me in the eyes right now and tell me that this is easy. No, it's not easy. This is difficult stuff. And it's a historical precedent. Just like you go through difficult winters, we're going through a solar weather storm that really dramatically affects us. The heartbeat of the sun is beating in our face. We're getting this huge blast of energy. And so it's a very difficult time to be alive. And, you know, we got to just all hold the line. We got to try to hold the line for each other, hold the line for ourselves, stay in your center, stay in your focus, stay in your vibration, man, because this is it. This is the big challenge. And I want you to be a success. I don't want you to fail. Laura Knight, it's the darkest time that we all rise collectively. Thank you, David, for your sweatingness. Brilliant. I don't know if she really wanted to say sweatingness, but hopefully I'm not sweating that much. I mean, there's a little bit of it there. Sweetness might have been what she was going for. It came out as sweating. It's not easy going through season after season of being a solo rider. Believe me, I get that. That was qui between. Right, Mr. Daily Wealth, Luke 21:25-6 and Matthew 24:30 describe the signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars causing distress among nations, signaling the imminent return of the Son of Man. Yes, I do think that there is a second coming aspect to this. I do think that we're going to see some amazing things take place. Very excited about those things. And, you know, let's all just hold the line and try to be as positive as we can when we're going through the great clearing. You know, there's so much energy that's clearing right now. There's so many people who are going through difficulty. And these sunspot activities, man, this really changes everything. So here it says what people are saying, trending posts and discussions. Astonishing 9 X-class flares once again. It says sun releases the largest solar radiation storm in over 20 years. Powerful solar activity released by the sun heading for Earth. That was on CNN. And then birthing of the mega sunspot we've been waiting for. So it says solar activity for the week of February 2nd through the 8th is high as solar cycle 25, that's a great number, approaches its peak, dominated by complex sunspot regions 4366 and 4371, producing frequent M-class flares and minor radio blackouts. Expect continuing moderate to high activity with risks of further M-class flares and potential G1 class geomagnetic storms. So we're also going to see that the solar wind speed is way up at 570 kilometers an hour. So the actual speed that the sun is pushing out wind is changing. This is a very intense time. So if you think that this is going to have no effect on you, oh, I'm not interested in the sun. Wait a minute. Solar activity affects everything. It affects all aspects of life because of this energetic connection that it has. We have Crystal Water saying, I felt so desensitized to negativity for years, but probably not as much as I think. Well, I'm going on the assumption that most of my audience is having a great deal of difficulty right now, and that, you know, we need some encouragement. So that's all I'm doing. So here's some of the key details. 4366 and 71 are the primary sources of flare activity. We have several of these M-size flares, including an M2.2 on February the 5th, causing minor radio blackouts, particularly in the Pacific region. As of February 7th, the Earth's facing disk contains multiple active regions, with 4366 showing high magnetic complexity in beta, gamma, delta. Geomagnetic activity is mostly, this period is expected to have mostly quiet to unsettled conditions, with a chance for G1 minor geomagnetic storms on February 13th due to the recurrent coronal hole high-speed streams. Isn't that interesting? That's the exact date of what the Alliance gave us for when whatever they're doing reaches its fulfillment. February 13th is this Friday. So how weird is that, huh? And then solar wind speeds are elevated. I just said that, measuring around 570 kilometers per second. Not sure why the font changes to Times New Roman there, but it did in recent reports. And then the high activity, particularly if linked to coronal mass ejections from recent flares, raises the potential for aurora sightings in higher latitudes. So wow, this is very intense. Stephanie Simonson just donated $20. Thank you very much. Whoops. Make sure the camera's actually on me. Usually I'm pretty good about that. So yeah, we're trying to get all of our ducks in a row here. We're trying to have everybody be on the same page, and that's good. So anyway, wow, there's some crazy floppy hair back there that I don't know if I'm going to be able to get. Let's see if I can hit it with a little bit of water and tamp those curls down just a hair. Get it to be a little bit more, oh, there we go. See? See, all things are possible. All things are possible in the conscious universe. And I just got my hair to relax a little bit. So another very strange correlation here is the San Andreas Fault. Let's pray. We really do want to be aware that this is a flashpoint, and that we want to send some prayer energy to this. During the last week, just over a week now, there have been 321 different earthquakes right on the main line of the San Andreas Fault. That is a concern. That does not make me feel safe. That does not make me feel happy. That's something we really want to be aware of. Here it was on ZH. Is the San Andreas Fault entering a dangerous new phase? The West Coast is shaking again. So it says, as you will see below, there have been 321 earthquakes in the San Francisco area within just the past 7 days. If I was living in Northern California, that would definitely get my attention. Scientists have warned us over and over again that the big one is inevitably coming, and almost every day there are more reminders of this. In fact, San Ramon was just hit by a swarm of more than 30 earthquakes just on Monday morning. So do I think the big one is coming? Not necessarily. The big one, of course, would be very destructive. It would cause a lot of damage, but, you know, I hope that our own collective consciousness can protect against this. But there's definitely geotectonic stress coming out of the San Andreas Fault right now, and it's correlated with solar activity. Ice-T says, I'm the best person going. Thank you very much. Yeah, it is scary. It is a scary thing. So, you know, especially if you live anywhere in California, the San Andreas Fault runs all the way up and down. And we've had some big earthquakes before off of the San Andreas Fault. So this is not something we just ease back and forget about. This is pretty serious. And it's good to keep your eye on this. A 4.2 earthquake struck near San Ramon Monday morning, following a 3.8 quake among a string of over 30 temblors in the area, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The 4.2 quake struck at 7:01 a.m., following a string that began with a 3.8 at 6:27. Wow. So it was just really, really shaking. Over 30 temblors in the area. Dozens of earthquakes then followed. My goodness. USGS said the 4.2 quake was about 9.4 kilometers in depth, and a magnitude 4.2 quake is quite significant. So here again, you see the earthquakes from the USGS UCB seismic nets, Monday, February 2nd, 11 o'clock, 2026. And then look at that right there. 321 earthquakes are pictured on this map. And they're all in these very concentrated little areas, one of which is right near San Francisco, where the squares are. And you see the magnitude can go up to about a 4, 3 to a 4 in a lot of these. So, yeah, and then there's other smaller ones as well. So this is definitely something you don't just ignore. And so if you live in that area, you know, make sure that you're earthquake proofed as much as you can be and have everything ready for whatever could come your way, because you want to have, you know, whatever preparations you've got in place to handle that. I remember being in LA, and sometimes you just get earthquakes and you have to deal with it. But, you know, hopefully we're not going to get any really big one, but this is definitely part of the solar activity effect. Interestingly, he says, the earthquake swarm that shook San Ramon on Monday morning occurred just after the sun released a relentless barrage of powerful solar flares. There you go, man. That's the solar connection that we're talking about. Monday's noticeable swarm broke out right on the Calaveras Fault, a main branch of the San Andreas, the monstrous 800-mile-long fault spanning from Southern California through the Bay Area and on into the Pacific Ocean. A couple of weeks ago, a magnitude 4.9, well, that's the point, though, is the Calaveras Fault is the big one. It is the main San Andreas Fault that, if it really were to go, would cause all this problem for us. And down in Southern California, where the same fault is located, or similar area nearby, magnitude 4.9. A 4.9 magnitude earthquake and several aftershocks rattled Southern California on Monday night, according to the United States Geological Survey. So here's from space.com, again talking about the extraordinary barrage of solar flares. We've had at least 18 M-class and 3 X-class flares in just 24 hours. This is February 2nd, and it says right here that it included an X8.3, the strongest so far. Solar flares are raked by strength from A, B, and C up to M and X, with each letter representing a 10-fold increase in energy, meaning that X-class flares are the most powerful explosions the sun can produce. And we've had 3 of them in just 24 hours. Back when I was studying solar activity over time, you might not get X-class flares for years. You know, and obviously it happens in between periods of intense solar activity rising, but wow, it's happening right now 3 times in just 24 hours. Let's see that again. So at least 18 M-class flares and 3 X-class flares, including an 8.3, the strongest of 2026 so far. So this is the biggest solar activity we've had this year. It is an unprecedented expansion of the sun's energy. And so we just read that already. I highlighted it. But X-class is the most powerful explosions the sun can produce. The culprit, again, is region 4366, a volatile active region that has grown rapidly in just a few days. The flurry of activity beginning on February 1st, late, continuing into February 2nd, with multiple M-class and X-class flares erupting in quick succession. The prolific region appears to be far from finished. Spaceweather.com described it as a solar flare factory, warning that its rapid growth and magnetic complexity make further eruptions highly likely. Okay, so this is a very significant thing, and it's not something that we just ignore. It's not something we just say, oh, no big deal, it's no concern to me. It is a concern to all of us, because these solar changes are holographically connected to the Earth. So let's remember Tchaikovsky, and remember that mass consciousness effects can, will, and do occur as this happens. And so we are all definitely going to be feeling it in our own lives. So what am I saying? I'm saying, yes, I believe it's correlated with this very upsetting information that the public is now in the process of acclimating to. I actually, you know, it sounds metaphysical, and we don't really know why exactly solar activity does trigger such epic, you know, changes, information disclosures, all this kind of stuff out there. Yeah, we got 2,300 people watching. That's great. It almost feels like the final countdown is coming. Will things ever be the same again? Somebody is saying. 4366 is rotating out, but more of them are rotating in. That's right. Somebody's saying, is this going to be harvest time? No, I don't think we're at that point yet, but it definitely feels very intense right now. And so, again, the public is adjusting this very intense information. So as we go through these changes, we're finding out that, yes, it's difficult. This is not an easy thing to navigate. This is a planetary challenge that we've got, adjusting to this very upsetting new data. And, it's causing political upheaval. It's causing resignations. There's big stuff going down, and we're only just at the beginning of what we're going to see. So I personally do not want to be any more triggered right now. I don't want to have this happen. And there's plenty of other people that are actually doing this. So we are going to keep the show family friendly, as I said. And please avoid the use of any of these words in the chat. It's not going to help us. It's only going to hurt us. So that includes, obviously, certain things, as you can see here. And you will see that if you try it, that it'll just get zapped. And that's not even a function of anything except for automation. So don't get me wrong. This is a huge story. We're already seeing these various signs of change. And remember from the Alliance that they gave us this deadline of the Friday the 13th that's coming up right now. So, man, who knows where this is going? Who knows what other types of surprises might be in store just this coming week alone? I mean, that's very intense. So I know I'm ready. I know I'm preparing myself for whatever could go down. There's lots of threats around me. There's lots of scary things going on right now. It is not a fun time at all. And that's because we're all going through this together. We're all having to stretch our definitions of what's possible and what's real and what it means to be human, man. I mean, it's just a very intense time. Sifting of the wheat from the tares, somebody says. Yes, I would agree with that. So I would say, yeah, it's time for other people to step up. If they want to do something, that's fine. I've certainly did this before. Many people are processing this right now, but I've been on the story all the way since the late 1990s, beginning in 2000. And I can tell you in advance, it's very important you don't let yourself get overwhelmed. It is critical to understand when you have had enough, and believe me, it's easy to get overwhelmed. So one of the things I would encourage you to do, again, don't stay up late into the night studying this stuff. Take pauses and breaks and get yourself into some inspirational material like watching this show. That's why I wanted to give you a safe haven of peace, a place you can go for new information, up-to-date, current events, talking about stuff that's relevant right now without having to get dragged down into, oh, this happened and that happened and this is so upsetting and that's so upsetting and this is horrific. And, there's definitely plenty of things going on that we have to be worried about. Now, one of the other things that solar activity does for us is it creates wars. It can create wars. And so we have other challenges happening as well. And that includes, again, this past week, we had major rumblings of the possibility of a war with Iran. And so Iran said that one of our carriers retreated near Yemen, opening the door to diplomacy. That's actually a good thing. If there is diplomacy, we like that. But then, right after that happened, same day, there was a drone that approached us, and it was shot down by the U.S. in self-defense. That really had me freaked out for a while. Like, wow, we actually shot down one of their drones, and nothing actually happened yet, which is frankly great. Bonnie says my blood pressure has been plus, and blood pressure has been high. I'm getting headaches and constant ringing in my ears. Do you think it can affect my blood pressure? Yes, it certainly could. I mean, this type of scary stuff definitely affects each of us in different ways. But no, we're definitely going through a hard time right now. And I actually remember my old dial-up PC. Reading David on his website makes me feel old. That's so funny. Thank you. Whew, so that was scary. And then we had this too, right ahead of the Super Bowl. It's happening today. They used a helicopter that is specifically intended to look for various types of munitions. And San Francisco is getting its first scan. Well, that could also be because, we're worried that if somebody did go after that country, that maybe they're going to want to do a reprisal, and they would do it right in the middle of a big public gathering like this. Yay, we had a $100 donation. Thank you for keeping the donations going. It makes me happy, makes me smile. Jury-rigged donate $100. Definitely a time of transition. He gets a big red mark there. Be kind to those who deserve it and stand strong against the darkness. Well, again, before you decide who deserves it, we really, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, all that kind of stuff. So some of this stuff could be faked, and we got to be really careful because, there's just no way of knowing what's going on. I'm glad that this has become a topic of discussion, says truth stays the same. Yeah, so anyway, the helicopter was there. We have the U.S. and the small country doing joint naval drills in the Red Sea, lobbying for robust Pentagon action. Wow. So yeah, things could be happening here. I mean, we're definitely in one of these kind of very scary moments where we don't want to see things go out of control, but the drills are already happening. The talks are still on in Oman, which is good. So the finance minister is saying that. And before it was said that they were canceled, so we're happy that they're still happening. Let's hope these peace talks can occur. And then on Friday, we hear that the leaders are wiring money out of their country like crazy, which would imply, again, that they're prepared for something to happen. And then we also saw this. There's a number of these that showed up. The U.S. government issuing a significant warning, urging Americans in Iran to leave immediately if there is any safe way to do so, citing there is rapidly deteriorating security. Citizens are warned not to rely on the assistance from our country. Consider exiting by land to Armenia or Turkey if possible. Something is happening. Consider exiting by land. Wow. Isn't that interesting? So yet another sign of this is the military ordering a bunch of pizzas in D.C., which is what they always do. If you know how to track this, it's like you look for how many pizzas they're ordering before they deploy. And so this was WTX here. Guys, we may be going to war. The delivery places are all hustling around the Pentagon. So these are 4 different pictures of pizzerias that are right in the area. And again, the soldiers buy this food because they're getting ready to go. They're having a little comfort food. You never know what could happen to you. You might not make it. So something is happening, but it might not be happening the way we thought it would. I totally agree. Anyway, call upon and rebuke this energy in the mighty name of Jesus Christ when you wake up. It helps instantly. Okay. I would say that's a good idea. Yeah, you definitely want to put your best foot forward, and that includes Christ all the way. So, again, definitely an intense time. And thank you guys again for the donations. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the work that we're doing together today. Really do. So let's zoom in on that a little bit. You can see that right around 3 p.m. is busier than usual. There's usually no wait. Some of them it's really spiked by a very significant amount. So let's again hope this can resolve itself very peacefully. So at the same time that that's going on, we have this huge military purge. It's starting to come out in the media finally, because I was saying nobody was even talking about it. This was just something I photographed yesterday. The fall of the generals, China's military purge. No one is safe. So this is Zhang Yujia, formerly the highest ranking general. He's been taken down. And this is confirming what we saw last week. Not since the era of Mao Zedong has China seen a purge of this magnitude. And again, right in the middle of what? Oh, that's right. Solar activity spike. Yes, indeed. Solar activity spike. Right in the middle of, well, that's all happening, and the sun is doing its thing, we've got this massive military purge going on, the biggest one since Mao Zedong. On January 24th, Beijing announced that the nation's highest-ranking general, Zhang Yujia, was being investigated for suspected serious violations of discipline and law, party speak for corruption. The move was extraordinary because Zhang, who's a member of the Politburo, had been one of Xi Jinping's closest allies. In fact, they were princelings whose fathers were senior figures in the early CCP Communist Party. They've known each other since they were kids. Wow. So this is a very personal thing. Now, after the 75-year-old's sudden fall from grace, the military hierarchy lies in tatters. The purges have led to doubts about their war readiness, according to Taipei Times. Well, that's interesting. His unprecedented reshaping of the PLA's leadership, doing away with generals like Zhang, a war hero who fought in the Sino-Vietnamese War of 1979, means the top echelon is very short of much-needed combat experience, which could potentially weaken its capability to launch aggression against this other country in the short term. But it doesn't necessarily mean anything, because he will probably appoint replacements who are more willing to execute whatever he actually wants to get done. So wow, this is a very intense thing. And we remember what General Flynn told us before, that it's actually, because the article doesn't really say this, it's over 18, but the magic number 17 came up. 17 generals, and then add to Zhang to that, it becomes 18. These are coup-like conditions. It will impact U.S. foreign policy. So, okay. Anyway, we're happy about all these things. But, so, anyway, the news of Zhang Zhujie and 17 other senior generals being arrested is absolutely accurate, including General Liu Zhenli. We already read those before. And so this is a mass arrest. I mean, we've been hearing about mass arrests. We're thinking that's going to happen. And here it is right here. It is equivalent to a heavyweight military coup. And in the coming days, there will be a large number of lieutenant generals, major generals, and even division-level officers arrested. Holy crap. I mean, again, like, you think this is correlated with the solar heartbeat, the universal heartbeat of the sun breathing down upon us? You bet. Has a lot to do with it here. And the news was reported to provincial and ministerial level officials yesterday afternoon and will be conveyed to deputy provincial level officials today. So there you go, man. They've been friends since childhood, and it all changed. This has had almost no media attention. But as I was just telling you, the activity spikes of the sun are totally correlated with these types of changes. Not a big surprise. We were told to expect this years ago. We knew that these kinds of events would take place, and we knew the results and ramifications could be very significant. Maybe there's actually going to be something positive that comes out of this. I don't want to just chew my fingernails and go, oh my God, this is so scary. What does it mean? What does it mean for us? What does it mean for the country? Well, if the chatter that we've heard for so long is true, it could actually be a very nice change that's a positive. So we got to keep clear on that. We got to keep clear on how these things evolve and unwind over time and the nature of what's really there and how that affects us. Because again, our heartbeat is holographically connected to the cosmos, to the sun. This sunspot cycle is the whole solar heartbeat giving us a big push right now. We're all being pushed. And, you know, these changes in the Chejevsky cycles, if you go back through history, they end up turning out positively. They end up being great. So this is a time to resolutely focus on the positive. I want you to reaffirm your own feelings of safety. Remember that we are not alone. And you are a perfect child of the Creator. So spend time, you know, tuning into your heartbeat, focusing on the positive, reaffirm your feelings of safety. John Carter says, thank you for everything, my friend. I appreciate that very much, John Carter. Thank you for being here today. I need to cleanse out my parasites and detox. Crystal Water says, you are so good to me, David. You are so good to all of us. I'm grateful to you in this community. Well, I'm trying to hang in there. You know, there's very serious challenges headed my way. The trolls love it when I say that, but it's true. So I'm just trying to, you know, keep everything put together as best I can. But, you know, we're trying to do the best thing that we can do here. We're trying to be as open-minded as possible and try to be in a positive framework about everything that's going on. We are all a spiritual family going through this together, says Kristen Kane. That's true. So I just want you to know that, yeah, it's hard for the normies. That's true. It's already happening. It's going to get more intense. It's hard for me too. I mean, I'm not a normie, but man, this has been, I can't tell you how difficult this has been for me and how much challenge I've been going through lately. It's just really, really wild. And then people saying things I don't want them to say without my approval, and like, man, I mean, just there's been stuff going on that I can't mitigate yet that just is very upsetting and bothersome to me. There's been all kinds of weird, strange, bad things going on. And, I'm just happy that you guys are here. So thank you for being here. I don't want to complain too much. That's not going to get me anywhere. Roseanne Barr said something big is going to change today. I assume she means tomorrow. I don't know. But when somebody's thinking that iced tea is actually the real iced tea, I don't know if that's really who that is, but I saw you at the Club DVS in Utah when you released Body Count. Great show, high energy. Is that really the real guy? I don't know. If it is, I'm honored. Thank you for being here. But I think it's probably just somebody that took that name on for whatever reason. Anyway, I want you to reaffirm your own feelings of safety and enhance your trust in the loving universe because, this is something that really will get you a long way. You don't want to be stuck in your own negativity. And I want you to try to avoid misunderstandings and harsh words right now. I have a rule with my friend Jude that we just don't curse on the phone. We try not to raise our voices. We're trying to stay positive about whatever the hell we're dealing with and just focus on it a little bit at a time. Strive also to go beyond your own previous limitations, man. You don't need to be stuck in the past because there are many hidden truths that are now coming to light. And, as this happens, your focus, as always, wants to be on the positive. So, again, the solar activity is challenging you. Anything that is not of the light is being brought up, shoved in your face for review. You have to deal with it. You have to process it. Bonnie Fiebert Holzman donated. Thank you very much. Be good, do good, more service to others than service to self, and everything will be fine. This is David's service to others. Well, it's also from the Law of One, but David is giving me a panic attack. Well, I'm not trying to give you a panic attack. I think it's very important actually to avoid panic, that we're not in denial about the things that are actually happening. We look at them objectively. No. Do I think the San Andreas Fault is going to go and that California is going to sink in the ocean? No. Do I think that there's going to be World War III? No. Do I think that China is going to go negative? No. I think that these things are scary, but that they are like the boo, that it's like you're in a haunted house and you go in there to be scared a little bit, but ultimately you come out and you're safe and everything's fine. I think that the planet is like that. I think that we are going to be okay. The Alliance also said, keep pushing because after darkness comes light. So we're heading into that light. We're not going to stay here for very much longer, but we are in here now. And it's good to just be aware of that. Don't be panicking. Don't be freaking out. Because remember, this is an initiation. It's all part of our ascension process. The time of the great facing of the self, where we are being challenged like we never have been before. And that's a very intense thing. You do have a calling. You do have a divine purpose. Okay? And so remembering that you have a purpose, remembering that you are a child of God, is a very important strategy for survival, to keep yourself alive, keep yourself going, remembering that you do live in a multidimensional universe. And again, you have a purpose. So your divine purpose is unique to you, but we all have one, and we're all striving to go beyond the limitations that once defined us. So you may be in a rough situation right now. I have a friend in the nursing home, and they just moved a patient right near him, a dementia patient who was screaming all night, "Nurse, please, nurse, please." Well, he complained a little bit, more than a little bit. He got mad, and he told the staff, look, you guys are going to kill me. And so sure enough, they moved her, and now he's been able to sleep a little better again. So speaking out, getting your word out there, getting your truth out there, it's a good thing, very good thing to communicate. That's an essential part of spirituality, is to have effective, healthy communication. Remembering that you live in a multidimensional universe, remembering that we're all going through this together, striving for your own transcendent understanding. Okay? That's a really key thing. And remembering that it's okay to protect yourself too. That's what we were just seeing here, what I was talking about with my friend. He stood up for himself. He got that done. And that's really, really significant. So anyway, there's a lot of good things going on in the world, a lot of positives that are happening. And you don't want to get mired in the negative. It's been very difficult, though. For me, I know it's been very, very difficult. I'm just having a whole lot of challenge right now, and it's been very intense, but I still decided, you know what, I'm not going to give up on the show. I'm going to show up for you guys. I'm going to be here for you. Oscar says, yo, this live stream has a good effect on reality, clearing energy like crazy. I'm not religious either. I'm just grateful. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. People are talking about Roseanne. Yep, so Roseanne is out there saying things. And anyway, just please, again, be careful with what you say. But it's all good. Now people are thanking me. Chris Harvey, thank you, David. Dancer Jill, thank you, David. 2 comments that are the same at the same time. Always kind of an interesting thing when you see something like that happening. So yes, the objective here is to protect yourself. The objective is to stay above the negativity. Don't get dragged down by things that are, typically insoluble. Purpose, Mr. Anderson. Purpose that guides us, that binds us, that drives us. Don't give up, David says, Sunny Skies. Our weekly family gathering is something we all look forward to. If anything, people want to see you more than once a week. We're back up to our standard of 2,500 here, so glad that you guys can zoom in and find me, and thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. We got a, hopefully, product coming up here pretty quick. I'm going to be working on. It should be awesome. Glad for that. So we're going to look at some new quotes from the Law of One and specifically examine this idea of the universal heartbeat. And what we're going to find out is that our stars are actually breathing. Their surfaces rise and fall like a heartbeat in a way that is very different from the 11-year sunspot cycle. There's a 5-minute cycle. There's other cycles that are longer. There's a 160-minute cycle. Michelle Feltman, thank you very much for the donation. The star is actually breathing in and out. So much like your heart gets bigger and smaller as it beats, it turns out that stars are doing the same thing. And that's really pretty freaking cool. When you look at it and you add all this stuff up, the way that it all fits together is quite amazing. So that's coming up later in the show. But I wanted to kind of like wet your whistle on that a little bit right now and get you excited. Be more like a Vulcan. Well, I'm doing as much as I can. Have I thought about doing Rumble? Well, I feel like I already can say what I want here. I just have to, be careful about what I do. But it's, I can only do so much at once, and so that's where I'm at. This is my home, and I'm proud to be on YouTube, and I'm proud that they have me here, and that we keep on working together, and we keep a family-friendly show, and everything's good. And, we got some good donations this week, so I'm really pleased that you guys are here. And I thank you for spending time with me today. I'm very deeply honored that you are here with me today. I truly am. So these sunspot cycles are one thing, but then we have oscillations that are harmonic. And I'll be talking about how those harmonics in turn drive the orbits of the planets, which is also going to happen on a galactic level. So just to get this discussion started, here's one quote from the Law of One, which is, again, my source spiritual text. I first found it in 1996. Reading a book called 1995, a book called From Elsewhere by Dr. Scott Mandelker, PhD. And he's got a PhD in East-West psychology from right here in Boulder, Colorado, Naropa Institute. And his focus is on, unifying the Buddhist philosophy with really the Law of One. That's what he did. The Law of One being a spiritual text supposedly coming from very advanced beings who go by the name Ra, and yet they are also Christian. They apparently time travel, and so they visited Egypt, and they also visited during the time of Christianity, most likely as archangels, such as Archangel Michael. And they've never left. They've been here the whole time, and they're very powerful beings, and we're very grateful to have them. So this was somebody going totally unconscious in trance, not remembering anything. That was Carla Ruckert, was the channel. And, usually I'm like, oh, channeled material, give me a break. But this stuff really, really, Mandelker said that it got closer to the tradition of the deep Tibetan Buddhist philosophies than anything else he'd ever seen. It was the same kind of teachings, and so he loved the philosophical angle. So some of the stuff that the Law of One says philosophically, to me, is just so beautiful. It's just the best. So this is one of them. It says, the creation itself is a form of consciousness which is unified. The logos, which is our galaxy, and also the universal logos being the one infinite creator, being the one great heart of creation. So that right there is establishing creation as a heart. And it's really, really cool. So remember, there is no separation from original source energy. You are a divine emanation. That's right. I love you, David. You don't have to fix your hair. You look quite handsome. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'm not in Boulder per se, but anyway, so yeah, I'm glad to be here with you guys. This being the heart of creation, the logos is like the galaxy is like a heartbeat. That's really cool. This gets into a subject of harmonics, which is truly huge. And I was just looking at a website today describing emanational cosmology, which basically means that everything in the universe is emanating from some hidden consciousness substrate that's always around us. And I love that. So when we really get into the core of what this is about, it gets into very, very interesting things. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to explore some philosophy from the Law of One that I find very exciting because the heartbeat of the universe is part of its consciousness. And the Law of One really focuses on how can we be most effective in our evolution, how can we grow, how can we redefine ourselves, expand our boundaries, get beyond what we thought we were, and get to a new plateau. And so I want to explore some of this foundational philosophy in the Law of One, which I stumbled over these today, and it was beautiful. I'm like, oh yeah, we got to put that in the show. These are great reminders in troubling times. So again, here's the copy of Book 1 of the Law of One, which is called The Raw Material. And so let's read some cool stuff here. Right now, we all need protection. We're all going through hell. So it says, we see protection being very simple. Give thanksgiving for each moment. See the self and the other self as the creator. Wow. I mean, that's a big challenge right there. Just see yourself as the creator. Most people are not going there. Athena Van Wardenberg donated. Thank you very, very much for that. And, you know, I'm very grateful for all of your donations. Let's keep them coming. See the self and other self as creator. Open the heart. Always know the light and praise it. This is all the protection necessary. So this is very important, you know, the opening of the heart, tuning into your heartbeat. Once again, that theme comes up that the heartbeat is essential. This is saying the essence of protecting yourself is tuning into your heart, opening your heart. If your heart is closed, you are not spiritually protected. If your heart is closed, you don't have the armor of God. So you want to open your heart to yourself too, not just to others. Service to others also involves taking care of yourself. You can't just do one without the other. So always know the light and praise it, and giving thanks for each moment. So again, I do that when I'm on my walk. I always thank the universe at the end of each side of the walk and do a little prayer, and I give thanks. I want to know the light. I want to praise the light, and I keep my heart open as much as I can. I mean, it's been very difficult with all the stuff going on, and people saying things you don't want them to say. It's like, oh my God, dude, why did you do that? You know, but we'll get it cleaned up. Everything's going to get cleaned up in time. So it just takes practice and patience. But anyway, you know, good things are happening. So know the light and praise it. This is all the protection that is necessary. And so from the point of view of an individual who wishes to follow the service to others path from our present position in third density, is there anything of importance other than disciplines of personality, knowledge of self, and strengthening of will? I said, oh, there's 3 disciplines that they said were really important. So we're going to drill in on those in just a minute. But then Ra says, this is technique, this is not the heart. Let us examine the heart of evolution. So there again is the key word heart, getting into the heartbeat, getting into the heart of what really counts. What is the heart, again, of evolution here? What are they going to say? Let us remember that we are all one. This is the great learning teaching. In this unity lies love. This is a great learned teaching. In this unity lies light. This is the fundamental teaching of all planes of existence in materialization. In the unity lies love, that we are all one. So again, it's a very simple message. They keep reiterating simple messages, but you know what? It's fascinating. It's fascinating that this keeps coming up time after time. It's fascinating that we keep hearing the same thing. We're still holding true, 2,400 people. Hang in there, because we're bringing in the sun, we're bringing in solar oscillations and all that cool stuff. But I wanted to get you some philosophy first, because it's just so fascinating to me. The universe is made from love and light, and it is a oneness. And once you understand that, then you see that being loving yourself and being loving to others is the optimal path. Now, there is a negative path allowed to occur, but that's going to drag you down. It's going to cause inevitable karmic backlash. And the law of one says that you don't end up making it on the negative path. It drags you down. So we want to stay positive. Unity, love, light, and joy. This is the heart of the evolution of the spirit. The second ranking lessons are learned, taught in meditation and in service. So again, meditation, very, very important, but even more important than whether you meditate or not is to feel unity, love, light, and joy. And that's really, really heavy, man. And we can be challenged by this, challenged in a number of different ways. And we just always try to get beyond that level of negativity and focus on unity, love, light, and joy. So this is coming right out of what I consider to be one of the most influential sources in my life, brought me a lot of wisdom. And so even above meditation is staying in joy if you can, staying in unity consciousness if you can. And I love that. I mean, it really counts for so much. Crystal Water says, I like this philosophy. David Wilcock's biggest fan. I don't know what's going on in your life, but I pray for the best outcome. Well, thank you very much. When you perceive evil, put your barrier up, rebuke it in the name of Christ. Absolutely. So, focusing on your heartbeat, focusing on the universal heartbeat, recognizing we're all connected. Unity, love, light, and joy is the heart. So focus on your heart again, and focus on your heart being in a state of unity, love, light, and joy while you are meditating, while you are pursuing various forms of service. This is so significant. Thank you, David, says Jim Garrigus. He donated. This is a great alternative to the pregame show. The heart is a magnetic toroidal pump. You're absolutely right. And so I'm grateful for everything that's going on here. Grateful for you guys to have, somebody got moderated. I don't know if that really needed to happen, but, do some wanderer people have slightly autistic behavior? Yes, they probably do. They probably do. But anyway, we love sunny skies. Thank you guys for what you're doing. Sometimes the simplest of practices are often the hardest. Well, it's only a short time out anyway. No big deal. So, meditation, service, but first of all, unity, love, light, and joy. That is the heart of the evolution of the personality. At some point, the mind-body-spirit complex, which is basically their name for a person, is so smoothly activated and balanced by these central thoughts that the techniques you have mentioned then become quite significant. Well, that means we're going to want to look at them a little more. However, the universe with its mystery unbroken is one. There you go. It's so beautiful. Always begin and end in the Creator, not in technique. So unity, love, light, and joy. Okay, so what were those three things that they just said become extremely significant? The disciplines of personality, the knowledge of the self, and the strengthening of the will. So somebody's asking for more stories of time travel. Well, let's just get through this first. The disciplines of personality, I think this is a really interesting philosophy. The heart of the discipline of the personality is threefold. Now, what do you think they're going to say? And again, he mentions the heart. What would the threefold discipline of the personality be? Well, could it be, you got to work hard? Could it be you got to meditate? Could it be you got to be more loving? No, it's actually very interesting. What they say is, know yourself, accept yourself, So, okay, know yourself. That means knowing what you really are. That means knowing that you are a perfect creation, a perfect hologram with one of a creator. And then accept yourself. Be grateful for yourself. Be grateful for who and what you are. Know yourself, accept yourself, and then become the creator. Whoa. What kind of ego would that have to involve, right? You're going to become the creator. No, what they're saying is that you actually become a humble messenger when this happens. Oh, okay. Sunny Skies apologized for the question about starseeds. Thought it was a troll. No problem. We forgive you. That's all good. King Arthur from Camelot says, I do remember this. Happiness is a virtue. No one can be happy and wicked. Triumphant perhaps, but not happy. All right. So we're an hour and 40 minutes. This is great. Know yourself, accept yourself, and become the creator. Wow. This third step, when accomplished, renders you the most humble servant of all, transparent in your personality, and completely able to know and accept other selves. Well, I am certainly not at a point of having become the creator. And they say that it's another important law of one teaching. It is entirely necessary that you consciously recognize that you are confused when you live in third density. You simply cannot become fully enlightened here, so you're not going to be able to fully become the creator. That's just ridiculous. But if you can emulate the creator in your behavior, if you can imagine like, okay, if I created this, if I did these things, if I created this universe, what can I do if I'm now realizing that this is all part of something that was created? What can I do to make it better? What can I do to make it happier? What can I do to ease suffering? Then you become a humble servant, the most humble servant of all, because you're able to know and accept other people. If you love your enemy, then why would you time people out? Well, because we have very disruptive influences and we need moderation because people go wild. If you don't moderate them, they say very mean things. So that's just part of reality, man. We have to, it's called healthy boundaries. The law of one teaching is about being loving, but also having healthy boundaries at the same time. The continuing discipline of the personality involves the adept in knowing itself, accepting itself, and thus clearing the path. So self-acceptance is very important, again. Clearing the path towards the great indigo gateway to the Creator. It's easy to forget the importance of self-acceptance, but again, it's very, very critical here. Very, very critical here. To become the Creator is to become all that there is. There is then no personality in the sense with which the adept had begun its learned teachings. As the consciousness of the indigo ray becomes more crystallized, more work may be done, and more may be expressed from intelligent infinity. There you go. No personality. You become all that there is. Isn't that something? Then we have the knowledge of the self. Okay. So, what is the difference in energy center activation between a person who is repressing emotionally charged responses to situations versus a person who is balanced and therefore truly unswayed by emotionally charged situations? So if you have all your energy centers activated, if your chakras are all open, how would you be unswayed by emotionally charged situations? The answer is very ironic because they say there's an incorrect assumption. This is one of my favorite things in Law of One. To the truly balanced entity, no situation would be emotionally charged. Well, I am definitely not there yet. I admit that. But that's what you want to shoot for. With this understood, we may say the following. The repression of your emotions will depolarize you insofar as you are choosing not to use the catalytic action of the space-time present in a spontaneous manner, thus dimming the energy centers. So they don't want you to repress your emotions. They do want you to communicate. They do want you to say when people are hurt. They do want you to have healthy boundaries. These are all very essential things. So thank you. Yeah, this is great. One should never entertain negativity. Keep your vibes high. No reason to worry, fear, etc. It will never help anything. And this is stuff that really takes us a long way. So knowing the self, they say there's some polarization towards positive if the repression is to be considerate of others. The entity has worked long enough with the catalyst to be able to feel it, but not necessary to express reactions. That person is not yet balanced, but they do not suffer depolarization due to the transparency of their experience. So what is this saying? This says that if you are being considerate about others, but you don't say what's really on your mind because you want to be helpful. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. They say, yeah, you're not going to be depolarized. You suffer no depolarization, but you're still not balanced. So if you think that holding it in and not saying anything is healthy, they're saying, well, you're not going to go more negative, but you're also not going to be balanced either. To get balanced is to actually communicate what's on your mind, to actually say what you're really thinking and feeling, get it out, spit it out. It's very important. Thus, we see a gradual increase in the ability to observe your reactions and to know the self. This will bring you ever closer to a true balance. Patience is requested and suggested, for catalyst is intense upon your plane, and its use must be appreciated over a period of consistent learned teaching. A knowledge of self and other self as the creator is paramount, and this is spiritual work. See yourself as the creator, see others as the creator as well. Very, very interesting and, and important teaching here. So again, let's see. Keep your vibrational frequencies high. Yep, love that. Great Q&A. We have Q&A going on inside. The comment section is self-organizing, much like an AI. This is a real intelligence. So, yep, we're doing what we can. We got to keep it positive. And thank you guys for being here. So, anyway, knowing the self as creator is paramount spiritual work. We cannot offer shortcuts to enlightenment. Enlightenment is of the moment. It is an opening to intelligent infinity, and it can only be accomplished by the self, for the self. Right? You can't have somebody else give this to you. You have to get it inside. Another self cannot teach, learn enlightenment, but only teach, learn information, inspiration, a sharing of love, mystery, or the unknown, making the other self reach out and begin the seeking process that ends in a moment. Isn't that interesting? But who can know when an entity will open the gate to the present? That's one of my favorite lines again. Who can know when you will open the gate to the present? That's the gateway to intelligent infinity. It's the focus of everything. And it's so beautiful. Beginning the seeking process that ends in a moment. There is a moment of time when you really grasp everything, and that is when that universal heartbeat is synchronizing with you and you become the universe. Your heartbeat, your breath becomes the universal heartbeat and breath. And it's beautiful. Regina Stredwick donated $20. Thank you very much. 2,500 viewers here. I love it. To begin to master the concept of mental discipline, it is necessary to examine the self. The polarity of your dimension must be internalized. Where you find patience within your mind, you must consciously find corresponding impatience, and vice versa. Each thought that a being has in its turn an antithesis. The disciplines of the mind involve, first of all, identifying both those things of which you approve and disapprove within yourself, and then balancing each and every positive and negative charge with its equal. The mind contains all things. Therefore, you must discover this completeness within yourself. Okay, and then last but not least is the strengthening of the will. That was the third of the three disciplines of personality they were talking about. Am I correct then in assuming the discipline of the personality, knowledge of self, and the control of strengthening the will would be what any fifth density entity would see as being important? And fifth density is like, again, one level below where they're speaking from. In actuality, these things are of importance in third through early seventh densities. So, and again, the will is the one we're going to focus on now. The only nuance that we would make is the use of the word control. It is paramount that it be understood that it is not desirable or helpful to the growth of the understanding, may we say, of an entity by itself to control its thought processes or impulses, except where they may result in actions not consonant with the law of one. So again, you know, some of us are so repressive of our emotions. They're bringing that point up again, that you don't want to do that. You want to actually learn how to understand, to grow, to breathe through your experiences, to embrace and accept yourself for what experiences you have, rather than trying to smash them down and pay no attention to them. This is really critical. It's a big part of the tuning into the universal heartbeat. Control may seem to be a shortcut to discipline, peace, and illumination. However, this very control potentiates and necessitates new incarnations in order to balance the control or repression of the self that can be perfect. So again, learning how to feel your emotions, how not to control everything, but to breathe through what you've really got going on. Instead, we appreciate and recommend the use of your second verb in regard to the use of the will. Acceptance of self, forgiveness of self, and the direction of the will, this is the path towards the disciplined personality. Your faculty of will is that which is powerful within you as co-creator. You cannot ascribe to this faculty too much importance, thus it must be carefully used and directed in service to others for those upon the positively oriented path. So very importantly, focus on the will. There is great danger in the use of the will as your personality becomes stronger, for it may be used even subconsciously in ways that can reduce your polarity. Boy, don't I know that one. Very important. I have a very strong will, and I've definitely misused it in the past, and for any of those times, I really apologize. Trying to learn as best I can how to be a positive role model and support system for everyone. And yes, there are times where we need to have these boundaries. Let's see what that one was. Oh my God, that was a good call. That was a good call. Okay, so the gateway to intelligent infinity is born of the sympathetic vibration, the balanced state accompanying the will to serve and the will to seek. So it's about service and seeking the Creator and desiring to serve. These are very important philosophical concepts once again. The most fragile entity may be more balanced than one with extreme energy and activity in service to others due to the fastidiousness with which the will is focused upon the use of experience in knowing the self. So there goes the knowing of the self again. So using your will to know yourself, the densities beyond your own, giving a minimally balanced individual much time and space with which to continue to refine their inner balances. Yeah, it's beautiful. You mentioned that the key to strengthening your will is concentration. Can you tell me the relative importance of these following aids to concentration? Silence, temperature control, comfort of the body, Faraday cage electromagnetic screening, visible light screening, and a constant smell like incense to strengthen meditation concentration. In other words, an isolation type of situation. You mentioned this was one of the functions of the pyramid. And he says, yes, the analogies of your body complex and mind-spirit complex activities have been discussed previously. You may consider all of these aforementioned aids as helpful to stimulate what would aid concentration, which is the will of the entity. Your free will may be focused at any object or goal. So again, will, and then that comes into the concept of free will. Wow, okay. So the free will is very significant. The free will, that's when you're tuning into your heartbeat, you're tapping into your free will, you're living the life that you're meant to have, and we're very grateful for that. So, that's a good thing. And we're happy to have you here. Let's see what you guys are saying. What is a Faraday cage? It sounds like a torture chamber. Well, that's what screens out electromagnetic radiation. Seek and you will find, says Scott Monson. I love you, brother, says Ian T. Okay. Healing is done in the time-space portion of the mind-body-spirit complex, is adopted by the form-making etheric body, which is, I think that's the indigo ray body, and then given to the space-time physical illusion for use in your activated yellow ray mind-body-spirit complex. Well, this is all technical stuff. Law of One uses these terms a lot. They're talking about how your multidimensional bodies are forming your healing. The healing is actually done in your spirit, in your time-space portion, and then you have a form-making body that gives it to your body. So spontaneous healing is actually possible in the Law of One system. It's hard to unplug when all those around you won't do it. That's right. Okay, so anyway, we are the medbed, says Beverly Adams. I totally agree. I guess she's back. It is the adoption of the configuration that you call health by your etheric body in time-space that is the key to what you call health, not any event that occurs in space-time. Again, this totally explains the placebo effect, the mind-body effect, that the healing begins in the spiritual body. Very important point. In this process, you may see the transdimensional aspect of what you call will, for it is the will, the seeking, the desire of the entity, which causes the indigo body to use its novel configuration and reform the body that exists in space-time. And okay, well, somebody got retracted by an automated process. They were talking about Byron Bay. I saw that one just pop up. That wasn't a moderator who did that one, so you got to be watching out for keywords, I guess. Not sure how that happened, but anyway, yeah, beware of keywords, you guys, because you will get zapped. So again, these are really cool principles, and it says here, the indigo ray body is what actually creates your healing through the will. So the stronger your willpower is, the better you can create a healing for yourself. And it will reform the body of space-time, your physical body. This is done in an instant and is operating without regard to time. So the use of your will can create instant healing. Let's have another quote on healing. We may note in the healing of very young children, there's often an apparent healing by the healer in which the young entity has no part. This is never so, for the mind-body-spirit complex in time-space, this is the spirit realm, is always capable of willing the distortions it chooses for experience, no matter what the apparent age is of the entity. Each of this group may become aware of its will to a greater extent. We cannot instruct upon this, but merely indicate that it is a vital key to the evolution of your soul and your body. May we ask the student to look up from inward work and behold the glory, the might, the majesty, the mystery, and the peace of oneness. Let no consideration of bird or beast, darkness or light, shape or shadow keep anyone seeking from the central consideration of unity. And this is again directing your will so that no consideration of darkness or shadow keeps you from centrally considering unity, glory, the might, the majesty, the mystery, and peace of oneness. It's such a beautifully worded phrase that's so great for us right now as we're going through all these challenges and hell and difficulty, to remember, yes, we want to stay on that positive trajectory as much as we can. We are not messengers of the complex. We bring the message of unity. It's so beautiful. And then, is there any reason that some learn more quickly than others? And they say again, focus on the function of the will, the attraction to the upward spiraling line of light, which is something we are going to cover later. All right, so we are now at the 2-hour mark. Press the like button. You know, we can do that right there. That's fine. Okay, so evolution. This is what we already saw before. The disciplines of personality, knowledge of self, and strengthening of the will. And then they said again, remember the heart of evolution, which is that we are all one. This is the great learning teaching. In this unity lies love. This is a great learned teaching. In this unity lies light. This is the fundamental teaching of all planes of existence in materialization. Unity, love, light, and joy. This is the heart of the evolution of the spirit. The second ranking lessons are learned, taught in meditation and service. At some point, we are so smoothly balanced by these central thoughts of unity that the techniques you mentioned, again, the disciplines of personality, knowing the self, the strengthening of the will, become quite significant, but the universe with its mystery unbroken is one. Always begin and end in the Creator, not in technique. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the heartbeat of the universe, galaxies and stars, how this all comes out. Because again, we were talking about the heart of evolution, talking about the technique, the techniques of opening and expanding the heart. Now we're going to get into what the Law of One says about this holographic connection of the heartbeat to the cosmos. It's really, really interesting. So, again, everything has a heartbeat, and this is implied in various quotations that we're going to see now from within the Law of One material. In the understanding which we have of the universe or creation as one infinite being, its heart, it has a heart, beating as alive in its own intelligent energy, it is merely one beat of the heart of this intelligence from creation to creation. The whole universe is like a big heartbeat. That's what it's actually saying. That statement makes it very, very clear, and I love that. Can you please summarize this? Drop some science, brother. Well, yeah, we can get into the science here pretty quick. Maybe we will cut ahead a little bit here, but just joined in. Thanks for the show. It's been dropping me off the stream. I'm sorry about that. But you know, we're just talking about philosophical stuff. I don't see why it would actually drop you off the stream, but if that happens, I apologize. Just reload. So again, the heart is beating alive in its own intelligent energy. This seems to be a carefully planned, engineered stage of development. Can you tell me any reason for why this originated this way? And he says, we go back to previous information. Consider and remember the discussion of the galactic logos. This is the conscious galaxy. In the primal distortion of free will, each galaxy developed its own logos. This is its own intelligence, its own loving consciousness. The logos has complete free will to determine the paths of intelligent energy promoting the lessons of each density, giving the conditions of its planetary spheres and solar bodies. So the galaxy, through its own heartbeat, programs everything. The term density is what you would call mathematical. The closest analogy is in music, where after 7 notes on the Western type of scale, if you will, the 8th note begins a new octave. Within your great octave of existence that we share with you, there are 7 octaves or densities. Within each density, there are 7 subdensities, which within each subdensity, 7 sub-subdensities, and so on indefinitely. So this is a very, very important point. The harmonic equivalence between love and light and the harmonic equivalence of the vibrations of 7 densities, this is really, really key. So let's see where we want to go from here. You guys are hungry for some stuff here, so let's see what we got. Okay. I think I got a plan. You know, I always have to be more prepared. I need more slides than I really need. So let's see, where are we right now? Exploring the photonic universe. All right. Great. Okay, so we will do that. Give me a minute here, you guys. Just checking this. Okay, so we're going to go to this place next, and we'll cut again from there. Okay, so the next thing I want to teach you guys about is spiritual gravity. This is something that the Law of One gives us in a very interesting way. It's good stuff, and it's very much related to this concept of the universal heartbeat as well. The universal heartbeat is expanding and coalescing. That's what the Law of One tells us. And it will eventually, actually, the heartbeat condenses back into a singularity. So it expands and contracts. So there is one great heartbeat of the whole universe where it expands into a full-blown expansion of its greatest size. And that would be like one stroke of the heart. And then it coalesces back down into an infinitely small size again. And that's gravity. And so this also is called spiritual mass. When all of creation in its infinity has reached a spiritual gravitational mass of a sufficient nature, the entire creation infinitely coalesces, the light seeking and finding its source and thusly ending the creation and beginning a new creation, much as you consider the black hole with its conditions of infinitely great mass at the 0 point from which no light may be seen, as it has been absorbed. And, all right, so lots of good stuff going on here. Just checking the comments and seeing what we got here. Oh yeah, well, we don't, please no keywords. Anyway, all right. So, this is pretty cool. He says the black hole would be a point at which the environmental material had succeeded in uniting with the unity or the creator. Is this correct? And they say, yes, this is correct. It's a manifestation of a spiritual or metaphysical state. So this gives us a very different way of looking at the universe. When you have a black hole, you're actually having the soul material of the cosmos coalescing back into a unity consciousness. It's very, very interesting. So yes, and we're going to get to the science here really soon. I know you guys are having a little bit of trouble with all the law of one stuff. Then it says here, will there be a greater gravity in fourth density? And he says there will be a greater spiritual gravity, causing a denser illusion. And it will not be much above the 32.2 feet per second squared we now experience. Is this correct? And he says, you don't have an instrument to measure spiritual gravity, but only to observe a few of its extreme manifestations, like the black hole. So then this vibration of pure motion, pure love, the photon, has not yet condensed to form any type of density or illusion. It creates by the process of vibration a photon, a basic particle of light, and then this condenses into the densities that we experience. Is this correct? We read this one before, but it's important. Yes, this is correct. So this was one of the heaviest statements in the Law of One, where the universal heartbeat appears in this discussion of the photons. That first photon that we are talking about is a beating heart in and of itself. The universe, it emanates from that, okay? The photon was the first manifest being. Photons are made from pure love, and they are alive, possessing universal intelligence. As we said before, all of the manifest universe is made from this photonic matrix, and it's naturally being attracted by DNA. And so we talked before about gravity being a photonic effect, that everything is made of in Law of One system, everything is made of photons. Gravity being a photonic effect, as we become more loving, we gravitate this spiritual mass. This is a big part of the universe's heartbeat. It's one big heartbeat. And he says, can you define spiritual mass? And then the answer is, it is that which begins to attract the outmoving and ongoing vibratory oscillations of beingness. There's your heartbeat, folks. It's talking about vibratory oscillations. That's this kind of motion, the vibratory oscillation, into the gravity well of the great central sun, the core, the creator of infinite universes. So again, the outmoving and ingoing at the same time. It's very, very interesting how this happens. We're getting right into the science part here now. The great central sun is the center of the universe. And you guys remember, of course, our amplitude-hedron discussion, the first photon in the universe. This is what creates the great central sun. And Penrose was the first person to put this forward. Remember that back in the 1970s, he was saying that all of space and time was made from this weird little object. So here's your science, okay? We're getting back into some science now. And I talk about this in almost every show because it is such a significant point, has such great, such great significance to everything. I'm having a rough day. Thank you very much for this. David, you look great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So he tells us that we're all in quantum entanglement. Penrose's whole idea is that we are all made of fields. And so this video just came out. There are no particles. You're made of quantum fields, not things. Cosmos the Penrose Way, January 23rd. So it just appeared a couple weeks ago. And what does it say here? Well, you can go watch it, and it says, everything you learned about atoms and particles is wrong. There are no particles. Only quantum fields, again, the emanational philosophy, emanational cosmology. vibrating in patterns so complex that they look like objects. There we go. That's what this is really about. Nobel Prize winner Sir Roger Penrose reveals the profound truth of quantum field theory. You are not made of things, you are made of fields. Discover why the particle picture is fundamentally wrong, how quantum field theory replaces particles with field excitations, and why empty space is full of quantum fluctuations. Learn how electrons aren't little balls but ripples in a universal electron field, why identical particles are actually identical, same field, different excitations, and how quantum entanglement makes sense when you understand there are no separate things, only patterns in unified fields. And this includes the whole manifest universe of space and time. And I love that. So I like to hear about experiences you've had to get you to the level of awareness that you are at. Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Again, unity, love, light, and joy, these are the essences of creation. But we have a heartbeat in the universe that I'm talking about here that's very significant. And it all starts from the philosophical implication that you are a temporary knot in the quantum field structure. This beating heart is creating all these fields of space and time connected at the deepest level to everything in the universe. And Penrose is one of the top scientists out there. From wave-particle duality, virtual particles, Casimir effect, twistor theory, space-time itself is an emergent phenomenon. See, that's where they're actually saying it. Fields are the only fundamental reality. And so it's very, very interesting because, again, he's the one that got into Penrose tiling as well, the geometric modeling of the fields of the universe, showing how pentagonal geometry that we've been talking about in many other shows can emerge from single tile formations. And there he is in front of a tiled floor that has the Penrose tiling. This is another example of Penrose tiling. Very, very exciting stuff. So don't forget about the amplituhedron, where he believed that this entire universe was emanating from this single object. And as we remember, it was Nima Arkani Hamed and Jaroslav Trunka that came out with this, where Stephen Hawking was arguing the Big Bang model, but then Penrose came out and actually got it right. So let's jump ahead a little bit more here. Never know how far I'm going to get through the show, so I always have more prepared than I need. Okay, so again, this is something that I like to show you guys. So we're going to show this again, if it'll work. All right. So Nima Arkani Hamed actually solved this model that Penrose was coming up with. That funky geometry that I just showed you right there was his idea of, like, literally everything in the universe. This is what that video was also saying. Everything in the universe, all of space and time, is emanating out of this object. It's really, really wild. And, what does that really mean? So, well, what they did, again, the jewel in the heart of quantum physics, was they solved all the quantum physics equations. Everything at the quantum level was solved. They're from PhDs from Caltech and Princeton. Solved all quantum models of subatomic particles, whatever they are, as being emanating from a single geometric form. And so now what I'm telling you is, you remember all this, that the single geometric form is in fact actually a particle that has a heartbeat. So let's go ahead to that, and we'll jump ahead a little bit more here. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Is this going to work? Here we go. All right. So it's called the amplituhedron. And, you've had me show this to you over and over again, but it's very significant because, again, this was Penrose's model, and this is the Nima Arkani Hamed model, where we see four tetrahedrons, four geometric patterns that come together, and literally the entire universe is made this way as a photon. I believe that's what it is. Remember Dr. Roderick Tropkiewicz? He captured and measured the photon in his lab here from Stanford. Here he is. And this is what we saw. Remember, this is a single photon. And sure enough, you can superimpose that tetrahedral geometry over the top of it. And it's the same thing that I've got in my hand right here. Same thing that I've been showing you in many other shows now. You can superimpose this geometry over the photon. So the photon is the amplituhedron. It was the first original manifest being in the universe. So that's very, very cool. And what we're saying now is that this photon may actually have a heartbeat. And there are multiple law of one quotes that suggest this. That the vibrational geometry is actually bidirectional. So here's an example of that. The understanding, experiencing, accepting, and merging of self with self and with other self and the Creator is the path to the heart of the self. In each infinitesimal part of yourself resides the one in all of its power, which reveals that we are in a holographic reality and that we have this vibratory nature. So let me go ahead and find where this was located here. So hold on. Let me let's just do this. So yes, I want to show you how the photon fits in again, just in case you missed this. So let's do that one thing, because Arkani Hamed's diagram is very significant. So let's see if we can get this to work. There we go. All right, so this shape that he discovered does appear to be the original photon. We had a donation, Stephen Brixey, 7777. Thank you very much for that. He says, "Thank you, David and all. We love you. We are all more cherished, loved, and respected than we know. The divine in me sees the divine in all of you. Namaste." Great. And so we're going to get to the vibration of the sun here in just a minute, but I want to show you some of these interesting principles about the photon. That this is the original photon, and there it is. There's your Merkaba. There's your diagram from Arkani Hamed. And we just simply superimpose them over each other like we do right here. And I believe that if you built it out more, that's what you're going to get. You don't need to do the whole thing for symmetry purposes, but it works. So there it is going again. And we saw again that these geometries are vibrational. They appear as sounds in water. This is something I want to show you every time. Dr. Hans Jenny showing you in a drop of water that the white areas are floating particles of sand. Everything inside a drop of water, you vibrate the sand with sound and you get these harmonic patterns. That requires there to be some type of vibration. Where does the vibration come from? A central oscillator. Oh, shoot. Not seeing it. Slides, David. Slides, David. Sorry about that. Okay. Back to the slide. Sorry about that, everybody. These geometries appear as sounds in water. Okay, so we're back. Sorry about that. Okay, so Dr. Hans Jenny pioneered this research where the white areas are particles of sand, and we see everything is contained inside a drop of water. So here we have this Merkaba shape again, that vibrational shape of the photon, and it is nothing but particles of sand in the white areas. The black areas are where all the liquid is. Everything is liquid. It's inside a drop of liquid. And you can see how the frequencies change. When you change the sound frequency, you go from one geometry to another. And it pops from one to the next, to the next, to the next. So the most important shapes, again, that do this, they all fit in perfectly inside a sphere. This is what the universe is made of, is the 5 Platonic solids, of which one is the tetrahedron, our fundamental shape here. So the basic idea here again is that everything from the universe is from one photon, and then this photon fractalizes into the first star, which has a heartbeat that drives the entire creation. And since we're running out of time, I'm going to quantumly speed. Oh my goodness, we had a $500 Canadian donation here. This is great. Thank you very much. I did not expect that. Cosmic Dreams donated $10 as well. This is Night Raven. So wow, I gotta say thumbs up to that. Thank you very much. Whoops. Thank you, David. You're one of the reasons I became more aware. From 2009 onward, coast to coast, I'm discovering I was also part of the various programs. All of us up here and beyond, thank you. Well, thank you very, very much. And so I really appreciate what you guys are doing here, and I really appreciate that donation. This is the cool part, says Snort5203. You're absolutely right. So each star has a heartbeat that drives the entire creation, but it's that original primordial sun that comes from what? The amplituhedron. What I'm actually saying is, you've been hearing me talk about the amplituhedron week after week. It has its own heartbeat. And the law of one passages make it, there's many of them that make it very clear that heartbeat is driving the whole creation. And these are really beautiful passages. So let's actually, again, we're going to cut forward from here. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, so actually, no, we're not going to cut from there because that's a good one to bring back in. So now that I've told you this, we're going to get right back into it here. Come on. Okay. This is something we already read, but it's going to come into play now. The spiritual mass is what attracts the outmoving and ongoing vibratory oscillations of beingness into the well of the great central sun. That's that phrase. Gravity is an attractive force, which we also describe as pressing outward. Therefore, again, it is bidirectional. That is the heartbeat we are talking about. Okay? Very, very significant stuff here. So let's do this. Let me make sure that we've got this. Okay, so all right. I want to make sure that we got enough time to get through all this. Okay, so how are we doing? We're doing good. We're doing good. So here's another quote that I really love, and then we're going to get right into the deep, deep stuff after this, because this one really, really makes the point so well. Okay. Each star has a heartbeat that pushes waves out and in. And they talk about the central sun again. Intelligent infinity has a rhythm or flow as of a giant heart, beginning with the central sun, as you would think or conceive of this. The presence of the flow inevitable is a tide of beingness without polarity, without finity. The vast and silent, all beating outward, outward, focusing outward and inward until all the focuses are complete. I mean, that's probably the most important quote on it right there. The intelligence or consciousness have reached a state where their, shall we say, spiritual mass, again, there's that term, calls them inward, inward, inward until all is coalesced. This is the rhythm of reality as you spoke. Is there a manifestation of love that we could call vibration? And he says, again, we reach semantic difficulties. The vibration or density of love is not a term used in the same sense as the second distortion of love, which is, again, love and light being the prime movers of the universe. So there's a vibration of love. The distortion of love is the great activator and primal co-creator of various creations using intelligent infinity. The vibration of love being a density in which those who have learned to do an activity called loving without significant distortion seek the ways of light or wisdom. Okay, we don't really need to go beyond that. So let's pop back over here. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, no, we do. I'm sorry, we do. Let's go right back into it, because it's the very next line that he says is one of the most important things that we've got. And it just takes a while to click in, because the slides there's so many slides. Thus, in vibratory sense, love comes into light in the activity of unity in its free will. Love uses light, has the power to direct light in its distortions. Thus, vibratory complexes, which is like you and me, recapitulate in reverse the creation in its unity, thus showing the rhythm or flow of the great heartbeat. if you use this analogy. So you are a vibratory complex. That means that in our own being, we show this rhythm or flow of the great heartbeat. Every star has it. And this is really, really cool stuff. So thank you guys for being here. We're going to get into the science part now. And I want to make sure that I have enough time to reach that, because we're coming up on the final 1 hour mark if we did 3.5 hours. So let's just make sure that we've got this. Okay. So yeah, we're going to cut from there. Let's go to... Let's see. Okay, so I want to bring back microclusters because we talked about them last week, and they are really, really interesting, significant things that really actually show this heartbeat in action once again. So remember the microcluster discussion, because this shows us the universal heartbeat at a quantum level. You guys wanted the science. I'm going to give you a whole new thing on what these microclusters really are. This again was in a physics textbook from Springer Verlag by Sugano and Koizumi. If you release one atom out of a nozzle at a time, that's all you're doing. Okay, there's no hidden tricks up my sleeve here. It's called adiabatic expansion. You're just shooting it out of a nozzle. You remember what happens if you watched last week. The atoms do not just cluster randomly, they cluster together into geometric objects which have unusual properties. They have extra strength, they conduct more electricity, and the supposed electrons orbit the center of the cluster. So what am I saying here? This is 459 atoms of gold on the left, 569 on the right, forming the classic icosahedron. And it actually, all the atoms are orbiting the center of the cluster. So these shapes, I do believe, have a heartbeat. These shapes are pulsating, and as the atoms come together, their heartbeats combine, and then that collective heartbeat is attracting the atoms together. They're actually, it's like if you had a tennis ball shooter and is shooting tennis balls into a room, and all the tennis balls just start rolling together, and they all start coming together and rolling into these weird collective patterns. That's because there is a heartbeat in the center of the cluster. It's very, very interesting. Can we get some Super Bowl halftime show, Angry Daddy, please? Well, let me take that suggestion to heart. I haven't had a traumatic life, but I haven't made the best decisions. I'm trying to stay and think positive. Okay, well, there is no dead air. I don't know why Linda Kiesling's getting dead air, but everything looks excellent to me. We're doing great on the stream. So anyway, these microclusters work because they have a central heartbeat. They have a pulsation inside of them that is so significant that it really, defines everything that we've been talking about in the show. That's why it happens. There's a heartbeat in the center. The pulses go out. They attract the other atoms around them, and they attract themselves together. So this is spiritual gravity. It's the pulsation within each atom. It's the fact that every atom has a heartbeat. Every atom recapitulates the universe in a holographic form. That's why this works. That's what's so cool about it, okay? And we're going to see the same exact thing in just a minute here happening with the solar system. Really, really wild. So this is the gold cluster going through all these different vibrational phases. You can see right there it has a heartbeat. It's pulsating. It doesn't sit still. It's on the move, and its shape keeps changing. That means, again, the center of each microcluster has its own heartbeat. That heartbeat creates waves that go out into the cosmos through this fluid-like medium, capture other particles, bring them in, and they cluster together. That's the power of the heartbeat. It is a gravitational force. The heartbeat actually attracts like-loving energy, like gravity, it attracts things together. Really, really beautiful. So this heartbeat is actually transcending space, time, and gravity. And this gets us back to the work of David Hudson, the guy who did the work with microcluster iridium, Ormus elements, orbitally rearranged monatomic elements, basically microclusters again. As I said last week, when you heat that iridium to 850 Celsius, it disappears from optical view and the scale shows no weight. Whoa. The microclusters actually disappear just by being heated. This is iridium. This is a very special mineral, very special element at this point. You cool the space back down, and the iridium reappears and regains its mass. My God. That's what we see right there in this graph, and it actually got heavier at first. So why would this work? Well, again, what we're seeing is microcluster iridium. So down at the quantum level, it's going to look similar to those gold clusters I just showed you. There's geometry in there. That's vibration. That's the vibration of a liquid. We looked at Hans Jenny. We saw that the liquid is vibrated by sound, and it creates beautiful geometric patterns, right? So here what we have is those geometric patterns inside a microcluster of iridium. You heat it up to 850 degrees, and it vanishes, and it becomes invisible, and it loses all of its weight. But then when you take the vibration away, it pops back into our reality. Well, this is like speeding up the heartbeat. It's increasing the heartbeat of the molecule, and eventually the heartbeat takes it into a whole other parallel reality, which to me, philosophically, shows us that this heart rate, this heartbeat pattern is transcendental. The heart actually transcends physical reality. Now, that doesn't mean you want your heart rate going super fast. I'm not saying tachycardia is good. What I'm saying is that these principles are it's the harnessing of the heartbeat, it's the strengthening of the heartbeat, it's the strengthening of your resonance with the universal heartbeat that really amplifies everything. This is like being in class. Let's get some angry daddy. I don't even have the glasses down here today. Oh, I do. Okay. All right, fine. Shun, you've been boring the hell out of your audience with all this technical geek speak for so goddamn long. Could you please, for once, just try to do something funny, something that's going to make them laugh, something that breaks the monotony of this crazy academic, dry discussion that just drones on, David. Oh, my God. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't be here. I get that, son. But could you please just try to find some other kind of a job? Do something that has a little bit more substance and relevance than this absolute nonsense that you're talking about. I don't care about the heartbeat. I don't care about the resonance. I don't care about quantum particles, amplitude heat. For God's sake, son, could you just say something that's maybe a little bit more interesting? Could you try to get to the slides that you actually promised at the beginning that were going to be supposedly about the sun and its resonance and all these other things? Could you please try to do something new? Because this law of one stuff, David, I don't know. People just can't handle it, man. You got to up your game, son. Listen to Daddy. Take my advice because I have had it. Ooh-wee. That's really, really nice. Oh, it tastes so good. Gosh, son, can't you just get it together for once in your life? Didn't I program into you some things that at least gave you some degree of insight into the nature of reality that goes beyond this arcane stuff that nobody even wants to listen to? They're tired. They've been listening too long. You lost a few hundred people anyway. Oh, my God, son. Oh, my God. Anyway, all right, there we go. Take a big drag off of that thing. I'm dying. Oh, yeah. Okay, I don't smoke at all, but, you know, it's a prop cigarette. I love that Angry Daddy is watching your show enough to complain to you about it. Sorry you think Angry Daddy is like General Flynn. I don't know about that. Anyway, we got a lot of people who are still here. And so so anyway, getting back to this concept of the amplituhedron and the microcluster iridium suddenly decreasing, when you increase heat, you increase resonance. And so this is really beautiful because it again suggests that our own bodies could potentially dematerialize, our own bodies could defeat gravity if we raise the vibration of those particles enough. And I didn't really say that last time to the degree that I think needs to be emphasized, that the iridium experiment shows the potential of ascension. Okay, finally, now, do we see this universal heartbeat appearing in our own sun? The answer is absolutely yes. Edna Karinsky, thank you for the donation. We do see it in our own sun. This is from July 2nd, 2001, from the BBC. The first stellar heartbeat is heard. This is amazing because the Law of One is telling us to expect this, and then we found it actually out there in nature. So it says oscillations induced by sound waves traveling through our sun's atmosphere have been detected since the 1960s. Just like their earthly counterparts, seismic waves reveal what it's like inside the Earth. Solar sound waves are an important probe of the sun's interior. The sound waves are caused by turbulent motions in the sun's outer layers, and they cause the sun to oscillate, that's vibration, at certain frequencies. The most studied solar heartbeat is 5 minutes in duration. That's so amazing. When we're going to talk about that in a minute, why is that so amazing? In many ways, Alpha Centauri is our sun's twin at over 24 light years, at 4 light years away, 24 million miles, the closest star visible to the unaided eye. It's our sun's twin. It's almost the same size, color, temperature, and age as our own. Natural target to look for oscillations. During May, a series of observations were made with the ESOs. We don't need all that. Alpha Centauri's light was analyzed with a Correlly spectrograph, and what we got, discovered in these new measurements by two astronomers, François Bouchy and Fabien Carrier, show that Alpha Centauri A oscillates with a 7-minute period, remarkably close to our sun's 5-minute oscillation. Now, what in the world are we saying? 5 minutes, 7 minutes, exact numbers? How weird is that? Isn't our clock time supposed to be arbitrary, but we have 5 and 7 minutes exactly? I mean, this is to me like, wait a minute. This was one of the great mysteries that some people were saying. They read my early books. They loved my early books. This was one of the things that really set me on fire. 5 minutes is supposed to be arbitrary, right? So the question is, where did the Sumerians get their time measurements from? How in the world is the sun doing a breath that's exactly 5 minutes in duration? Why isn't it 5.141 minutes or something like that? Why is it exactly 5 minutes? Well, because I believe that the second is actually a universal time quantum, that the second is actually the heartbeat of the universe, that our clock is built for sacred purposes. When you count 1 second, you are counting the universal heartbeat. The universal heartbeat beats in seconds. That's why there's a 5-minute pulsation, because it's exactly, what would that be? 360 seconds. 360 is the number of degrees in a circle, man. So wait a minute, you're telling me, or no, it would be 60 seconds in 5 minutes, so 3,600. But still, 3,600 is a very, very harmonic number, the number of degrees in a circle. This gets into all this great harmonic stuff, remembering the principles of harmonics. Sound vibrations are vibrations of air per second, and we get these perfect harmonic numbers when you have the second be the exact length that it is. This wouldn't happen if the second was a different length. So we had Lords of Ascension leave a comment on my Twitter page here, and he said, when are we going to get back to the divine harmonics? So I'm not sure exactly what this is here, the 432, 440. It looks like they're cymatic diagrams of some kind again, showing you that when you're at exactly 432 vibrations of air per second versus the 440, which is the concert A on the piano, the equal temperament that the piano has. You hit the A key here, and you get this spontaneous manifestation, in this case of the geometry. How much dope did you smoke? This is not from drugs. This is stuff that I've studied for a very long time. When you look at the 432, the geometry is very nice and clean, whereas with 440, it's kind of messed up a little bit. So what we see over here is the numbers 36. When you set A at 432, the harmonic 432, that the vibrational numbers of how much air is vibrating per second to make the sound you hear, you get these beautiful numbers: 36, 72, 108, 144, 180, 216, et cetera, et cetera. There's 360, there's 432, 576. Those are your harmonic numbers. And they are very, very fascinating because, among other things, sacred buildings are built with these proportions to be able to create portals in the buildings. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk about in my upcoming class, this online class that I intend to do about portals. And so, again, how weird is it that the sun is rising and falling in exactly a 5-minute oscillation? It's just so bizarre that that's happening. But very, very fascinating as well. So again, we have these various harmonic oscillations, these various harmonic wavelengths, that the reason why they're so cool is that they represent the greatest number of divisors, the greatest number of things that can vibrate. There's vibration inside these numbers. And they show up in the Bible, in the science of gematria. They show up in the measurements of sacred temples and artifacts. They show up all over the place. Plus, if you take these same ratios, of sounds, you take those same ratios there that we're seeing, and then you see that there's an equivalence between sound and light. So in this book, The Physics of Love, Dale Pond actually shows that you can take the ratio of air vibrations for sound and scale it up to the relationships between the different colors. That the actual sound frequency relationships that we see in the second being one actual second with these perfect things, these perfect frequencies, you go up, you raise it up again, and now what you're seeing is that it extends into color. The relationships between colors in terms of the wavelengths of the photon are preserved in the ratios between the wavelengths of sound, in the actual vibrations of the air. And that, to me, is one of the really, really cool, fascinating things. Sign me up for David's portal class immediately, says Harvest Rose. So thank you. It would be great to have you as a science teacher. I would have been more excited about the topics. When you see derogatory remarks, don't even acknowledge them. Just pass on by. They're very disrespectful. That's right. Okay, so yeah, we'll do more on harmonics next time. We'll dive into this more because we're doing it at the end of the show. The point is, as we ascend through these colors, as we ascend through these vibrations, we again gain spiritual mass. The higher self is a manifestation given to late sixth density mind-body-spirit complex as a gift from its future selfness. The mid-sixth density's last action before turning to the allness of the Creator and gaining spiritual mass, there it is to give this resource to the sixth density self. And so we already read this last time. We don't need to do it again. Using the infinitely complex thought form of seventh density as a living bank of memory for sixth density. In this way, you may see yourself, your higher self, and your mind-body-spirit complex as 3 points in a circle. The only distinction is your time-space continuum. All of them are the same being. All right, so let's get to the one other thing that I really wanted to share with you that's very cool here. Yeah, okay, we're getting right into it. Yeah, so it was just the same quote again that I already talked about. So let's just cut from there. Okay. So this idea that the sun is actually doing this cool stuff, that it's doing this vibration, there's a very interesting way that we're going to talk about this as it relates to the proportions of the solar system. And since we're running out of time, we're going to do this kind of quickly, but you guys are okay. And it's really one of the things that I love, so I want to get this going. Okay, so here is a graphic from NASA. It's going to be a graphic when I hit the button, showing you the size of the sun and the size of the planets. And again, the size is to scale, because most of the time the sun is drawn way too small, but the distance is not to scale. So then when you space out the distance, this is the animation that they give you to show you more of like an accurate set of distances there. That's what it actually is supposed to look like. So again, why are the planets spaced apart the way they are? Why are the distances spaced apart the way they are? Well, it gets into some very interesting stuff that we're going to talk about. So The first thing we're going to talk about is Bode's law. This was discovered by Titius Bode in the 1700s, where for some reason, if you use this sequence 0, 3, 6, 12, 24, and then you take each number after 3 and you double it, so you can see 6 is double 3, 12 is double 6, 24 is double 12. You add 4 to each number and you divide it by 10. I know it gets a little complicated, so just bear with me. David only expands his teachings. He does not change them. That's right. You now have the distances of the planets from each other based upon the scaling of the distance to the Earth. So if you take the sun's distance to the Earth as a unit of 10, this is where you get all the units of the solar distances very beautifully. This works all the way out to the planet Uranus. So we have a textbook from 1715 by D. Gregory, the first person to have seen this. Supposing the distance of the Earth from the Sun to be divided into 10 equal parts, of these, the distance of Mercury will be about 4, Venus is about 7, Mars is about 15, Jupiter is about 52, and that of Saturn is 95. And then it turns out that it's also goes out to Uranus as well. Happy to see you aren't maniacally fixing your hair, dearest professor. Yeah, I'm letting it go. Just letting it go. All right, well, you guys, I lost a couple hundred people, but everybody is still fine. So thank you guys for being here. You should get an animal sidekick like Hecklefish. When I think weird, I mean mysterious, as Scott Monson. Okay, so now I want to give you something very fascinating, which is how the sun's own breath is actually creating the spacing of the planets here. This is called Stone King resonance, something I also talked about a long time ago and haven't talked about in quite a long time. Healing for people who are addicted to alcohol in their meditation. We'll do that. So this is from one of my old books, and what we see here is that in his 1998 paper, J.B. Stoneking calculated the wavelengths produced by each of the different harmonic intervals the sun produces. We've measured that it actually has different pulsations. The sun's surface is actually pulsating in different units of time that are all even numbers of minutes. It's really, really bizarre. And again, it's because the minute is a harmonic quantum of seconds. It's really, really cool. So we'll have to do more on this a little later. But the 5-minute pulse, the 10-minute pulse, the 80-minute pulse, and the 160-minute pulse, etc. All of these pulses have been found inside the sun. When you read like that BBC article and other articles, you find out that these pulses are there. Let's see what we had there. So, oh my God. That was a good call. Thank you guys for hanging with me. I'm sorry the material was a little rough this week. I really didn't know how many of these slides I was going to get through, but we're doing great. We got where we needed to be. So again, this was the original page. I had to find it on archive.org. It's not there anymore. But this really, really blew me away. He wrote it in 1998. I found it in like 2000 or something, and it changed my whole life. So these wavelengths that he measured are existing at certain distances away from the sun. Calculating these wavelengths is a simple mathematical problem involving the distance the sun's surface moves in each pulse, which he calculated at 2 to 3 kilometers, the time it takes to move in each pulse, which is a 5-minute breath, and then the speed that the wave travels, which is the speed of light. So we're not going to do the whole equation, but the point is you take the 5-minute breath and you take other breaths that the sun has, you create waves where you hypothesize now that the sun is like, again, oscillating inside a fluid. It's creating those vibrational patterns that expand and contract. They go out to the edge of the solar system. They reflect back in. The sun's waves are doing this. It goes in both directions. He created a very simple wave equation based upon the actual behavior of the sun, and it predicts exactly where the planets are. And because the sun doesn't just have a 5-minute pulse, it has other pulses like 160, he actually nailed all the planetary orbits this way. So the orbits of the planets are in place because the sun has a heartbeat. You see, and that's what's so cool about this. Let me explain to you. It's very, very, very cool. When he ran these calculations published in his paper, he found there was a planet at the edge of each wavelength he discovered, as we can see in these images. These nodes in the wavelength were the zones of least pressure, where all the vibrations canceled out, allowing suns to form. So, yes, thank you for moderating those comments. That was very inappropriate. Not at all cool. All right, so anyway, what we see here is that these are the waves that he actually calculates, 0.75 AUs and 0.3 AUs, 0.6 AUs. All of these are different functions of the sun's own breath and the very simple waves that you can create from that. And it goes all the way out to Uranus, the same thing with Bode's law, but it goes even farther than that, as you're going to see. The entire heliosphere is exactly 5 pulses of 160 minutes deep. So you take the basic equation of a 160-minute pulse, the speed of light, and the distance of the sun's surface as it rises and falls, you get the exact size of our entire solar system out to the edge of the heliosphere. So there's your 160-minute pulse, and then 5 of them goes out to the edge of the solar system. So again, this to me is very, very interesting. Since this info changed your life, can you explain it so it changes ours too? Yes, it changes my life because what I see is that the universe is running on a principle of harmonics, that the vibrations of our solar system, the vibrations of our planets are all interconnected with this. So he said that the sun is quivering in a constant state of vibration. It heaves up and down in a regular fashion. Since been confirmed by several groups of astronomers from the US, Russia, and Great Britain. This occurred from pulsations ranging from 5 minutes all the way up to 160 minutes. And there's the link to that. Some doubts remained after several years, but all uncertainties were finally swept away when a collaboration of French, Soviet, and American scientists set up an observatory at the South Pole. During the Antarctic summer, it's 24 hours of sun. Good weather made continuous observations possible. And they found clear evidence of a 160-minute oscillation period with an amplitude of about 3 kilometers or 1.86 miles. And there's, again, Sun and Earth, Scientific American books. Page 50. If you use this 160-minute pulse as the fundamental frequency in a harmonic series, the series has 1 octave lower as 80, 160 divided by 2, and 40, 20, 10, and ending in this example, the sun's 5-minute oscillation is the 5th lower octave. And then he says, I've used this equation, and again, you don't need to get all the details, but if you wanted it, it's right there. Speed of light, frequency, and 1 over time period in seconds. So, solar diameter is 865,000 miles, and this is an exact number of solar diameters caused by this pulse wavelength. And then there it is again, all of the planets' distances from the sun shows up in this graph right here. To me, I was blown away by this because it means that we're living in a harmonic universe. It means that the sun's heartbeat determines where the planets are located. It's extremely fascinating to me, and I love it. So, wow, there's some people are crushing on me, I guess, and that's good, but, you know, thank you guys for being here. So, oh my gosh, what a funny joke. Adam and Eve owned the oldest computer. It was an Apple with very limited memory. If you have just 1 byte, everything crashes. The music of the spheres, yes. I mean, this is esoteric stuff. It gets deep into harmonics. It gets deep into resonance. And we're going to have to do more of this next week because we're kind of running out of time here. But actually, we are just about out of time. But anyway, the bottom line is that the sun is vibrating in 5-minute to 160-minute pulses, and those pulses precisely define where the planets are located. And I just love that. So sorry if it's a little bit boring or if it doesn't quite make sense to you, but to me this is very, very exciting stuff. And we'll get back into it in another show. But let's go down to, we're going to actually do, So, okay, the ultimate reason why this Stone King resonance to me was so important, why did I get so excited about it? Why did I geek out on this so much? Is because it's all the science of ascension. Where does it finally lead us at the end of the day? It leads us back into an ascension cosmology. It leads us into an understanding that ascension is real, that it's happening to us now, and we are, in fact, undergoing a massive dimensional shift. So with the sun's surface beating like a heart, we'll talk about this more. We're going to do another show on the constant of Nineveh. We're going to get more into this harmonics and more into this kind of stuff because, honestly, I bit off way more than I could chew. Doing all those Law of One quotes probably should have been its own show, but, you know, hindsight is 20/20. It's nice to leave material on the table so I can come back to it next time. And we'll do some of this in the paid courses coming up as well. But anyway, very, very exciting because the implications of all this are that the universe is built off of a central heartbeat. And that central heartbeat precisely defines the rising and falling of the sun's surface rising and falling by 1.86 miles, which isn't all that much, but that it has these exact numbers of minutes in how it's vibrating. The clock time is not supposed to be so arbitrary. It's supposed to be, you know, it's not supposed to be so set. It's supposed to be arbitrary, right? We wouldn't think that the second is anything that significant, but it is. So this really, really jazzes me up because what I'm looking at is a new harmonic cosmology that defines where the planets are positioned and ultimately also creates these energetic fields that propel us into higher dimensions. The Law of One talks about that extensively, that we're undergoing a massive dimensional shift. So as things are getting more upsetting in the world, we are being initiated, as I said before, and how we manage stress creates our own reality. So I know how crazy it is in the world right now. These files that have come up have really, really rocked people to their core. It's all anybody wants to talk about. But I want you to focus on the heartbeat. I want you to focus on your heartbeat, focus on the resonance that lies within you, and focus on how that resonance transforms everything. The Law of One consistently stresses unity, love, light, and joy. This is the core, recognizing that you are the creator. You are a hologram of the creator. So the sun is literally manufacturing the solar system with its heartbeat, just like the planet's orbits are like the circulation of the bloodstream. It's very, very interesting. So I want to be sure that we get some of your questions in. What are the planets in relation to the sun's nodes on the scale of wavelength? Well, they're all interconnected. And there's also planets around another pulsar, the B1257 plus 12. That pulsar actually has the same distances of the planets away from it that we do in our solar system, at least 3 of them. 2 Israeli scientists discovered that. It's fascinating. We'll talk about that later. You're saying all sacred geometric shapes fit inside the Merkaba and they're all adjacent to sound. Yes. Each of these different geometric shapes that we were talking about, the Platonic solids, you got I can make the cube here by doing it this way. I can do the tetrahedron doing it this way. We got the octahedron inside, the dodecahedron. All of these are functions of sound. We said it's sound vibrating in liquid. You get the sound, you get the vibration from the heartbeat in the center. Just like when those atoms cluster together in the microcluster, there's a heartbeat in the center that makes that happen, that makes them gravitationally attracted to each other. Johnny Samsara, I loved the content today. It's right up my alley with what I've learned and extrapolated in my own writings. I'm feeling like your content is coming full circle and complete. Thank you very much. So how are the sun's pulsations propagating into empty space, says Paul Kent? Well, it's not empty space. That's the point. When we see that you have the size of the sun, the size of the oscillation from the surface, solar wavelengths that actually define the planets by the exact number of minutes of the sun's pulsation, that really shows that the sun is inside some type of fluid-like medium. It's behaving according to laws of harmonics. And again, if this is all too esoteric for you, remember that the bottom line is that there's a heartbeat on the sun. The heartbeat defines the structure of the solar system, and that structure is harmonic at its core. And you have a heartbeat, and that's your harmonic connection to the universe. So I just want to remind you that the loving vibration, the heart vibration, is our connection to so-called intelligent infinity in the law of one model, that we have a beautiful radiance that comes our way through this. Sammy Brown, having worn hearing aids for 20 plus years, I saw harmonics. It resonates with me. I must rewatch and review. This is a great teaching. Thank you very much. So anyway, I'm not taking horse paste, but anyway. I will get back into harmonic science next week. We'll hit it harder. We'll do a better treatment on it. But again, I kind of left myself hanging with not enough time. Sometimes I used to do these talks that would last all weekend, and I'd get lots of time to talk about this stuff. But we're also going to have a upcoming course that will get into these things in much more detail. So my point is, the harmonic oscillation of the sun is a hologram of the beating of your own heart. And so it defines the planets. We also have the sunspot cycle. The sunspot cycle amplifies the vibration in our solar system, and we are going through that right now. We are going through the energy cranking up on such a massive level. We saw revolutions going on in China. We see this threat of war with Iran. We see the release of this suppressed information that's freaking everybody out. And I just want you to be in a safe and secure space. How you manage that stress in your life creates your own reality. Where is this all going? The law of one actually tells us, what's going to happen about ascension here. And so, again, this is a very fascinating quote. Does the frequency of vibration that forms the photon increase to a new vibrational level in a basic short period of time? There's a quantum leap in our ground state reality, and they say this is correct, and you then see gradual uprating of vibrational levels. So the law of one and other sources literally predict that our entire reality is going to go through a quantum shift. If atoms and molecules are vibrational entities, which we're saying they are, like the amplituhedron, you can have the entire ground state of everything in our solar system upgrade to a new level. And that means that everything that we know about reality, everything that we know about our bodies and our lives and how we live and how we function, it all changes in a quantum leap. That is so exciting in a relatively short period of time. What do we turn into? Well, this is what they're going to tell us right here. We ask you to consider there are no words for positively describing fourth density life. We can only explain what it is not and approximate what it is. Beyond fourth density, our ability grows more limited still until we become without words. Okay, let's see what it is. That which fourth density is not. It is not of words unless they are chosen. Okay, so you don't have to actually speak. You become completely telepathic. And so somebody was like saying, is there going to be any censorship in fourth density? No. How can you censor anybody if it's all telepathic, right? Well, there's certain things here that we like to keep healthy boundaries about in the comments section, obviously, as we've talked about. But no, censorship is not the goal in the higher densities. You don't have to. You don't need it. Trada1111 donated and said, could you look into Terrence Howard's work? Yes, I was going to do a show with him. He actually hung out with me at my house. Did a Joe Rogan podcast saying space waves colliding at specific angles causes spinning, which creates gravity and planet formation. Yes, he had studied my material. And we were at one point going to do a show together, like a television show. That was one of our original ideas that we were going to have on a certain network that was being formed way back in the day. It was, arriving out of a particular media figure. So anyway, this was way, way back before anything else happened in my life. But yeah, so Terrence Howard, really, really cool guy. Love him. We got along great while we were hanging out together. So fourth density is not of words unless you choose them. It is not of heavy chemical bodies. No heavy chemical bodies. So you have like a light body. Basically, they're telling you you're going to have a light body, is what that means. And it is not of disharmony within the self. It is not of disharmony within peoples. It is not within limits of possibility to cause disharmony in any way. That's pretty fascinating, right? So there's no disharmony in yourself. There's no disharmony. You can't. It's not even possible to upset people. It's so loving. It's so wonderful. 100 times more harmonious than life in third density. That's what they promise us. I can't wait. I hope I can make it. I hope I can get there. We all should hope that we can ascend and get through this. But anyway, you must unlearn what you've learned, says Yoda on Dagobah. That's right. Somebody says he's working on a plasma generator for home use. Yes, by all means, email us at stavati.com if you have something like that. We are looking for those types of things. So, it's so funny. I'm trying to concentrate, keeping your thoughts down. LOL. Yeah, so I mean, this is advanced vibrational physics and vibrational, sacred science type of stuff. And I'm happy to be delivering this to you today. So, not within limits of possibility to cause disharmony in any way. Not of words unless you choose them. This sounds awesome. Approximations of positive statements. It is a plane of a type of bipedal, meaning two-legged vehicle, a body, which is much denser and more full of life. It is a plane wherein you are aware of the thoughts of others. It is a plane where you are aware of the vibrations of others. So you do have some kind of a light body, and you can fly. They don't really make that clear, but you definitely do. This is what Christ promised us we would be. This is the ascension. It is a plane of compassion and understanding the sorrows of the third dimension. You become like an angel to the third dimension. It is a plane that strives towards wisdom or light, which is the fifth dimension. It is a plane wherein individual differences are pronounced, but automatically harmonized by group consensus. And that is awesome. So a lot to share here today, a lot to consider, that the universe is that amplituhedron that I've been telling you about week after week. It does have its own heartbeat, but that heartbeat is actually constructing geometry, constructing reality. The geometry itself needs vibration to come from somewhere. It's at the center where the vibration really does its magic and gets things going. And there's so much farther we can go with this. I only really have just scratched the surface. Terrence Howard is so intelligent, but everybody censors him. Well, anyway, somebody said 100%. So, this is really great. Yeah, it would be great to see Terrence and me together. I get that. It would be great if I could take him up on the offer, but maybe we'd get censored even more. Who knows? That's what you guys are saying. So, anyway, I want to share with you some inspirational philosophies here as we round out the show. These are pre-meditations just to get us going, thinking about all the stuff that we've said here today. Your heartbeat is your holographic connection. Your heartbeat connects you to this infinite universe that has its own harmonic pulsations. The coherence of your heart rate adds to others. We talked about that with the Institute of Heart Math. And you are, in fact, a perfect child of the Creator. You are a holographic image of the One Infinite, and your heartbeat directly connects you to the universe, and your breath is another hologram, because again, your chest is rising and falling. It's this steady vibrational motion. So you can think about both your breathing and your heart rate as being these holographic connections to so-called intelligent infinity, to the One Infinite Creator. Hermetic philosophy is my favorite. Says Vega, yeah, you're absolutely right. I love you, David. Everything is going perfectly. Stay strong. Live with honor to your true self. Find who you are and where you're going to be, says Chantel Henderson. Thank you, Chantel. All right. So Anyway, I want you to have some hope. I want you to have some inspiration. And when we look at the sacred sciences and we see something so esoteric in the law of one, they're talking about a great central sun and harmonic pulsations. Then we find out, which he didn't know when this was done back in 1981, that the sun was vibrating up and down like that. It's confirmation to me. That's why I liked it so much. It's like, wow, these principles really hold up under fire, and they work, you know. So I'm very happy that we found these things out, that we get to make these discoveries, that we can share this time together and be with each other together, talking about this stuff, and getting to the core of very, very interesting material. So your breath directly connects you to the universe. And I want you to start thinking about your heartbeat as being holographic, that it's driving the cycles of your body, and that the circulation of your blood is similar to the circulation of the planets in the solar system. Just like the circulation of air through your lungs, you could think about it as similar to the circulations of the planets. Now, this idea, they say, the disciplines of the personality, know yourself, accept yourself, become the creator. Disciplines are threefold, right? And that's one of their most important lessons. They say goes all the way up through 7th density. Seeing your breath as a hologram of the infinite heartbeat, seeing your heart rate as holographic to the universe, these are essential teachings, man. Sire Land donated $70. Thank you very much. You're keeping us on the air. Another Sunday Fun Day with David. Thanks for everything you do. It's confirmation to all of us. It healed me. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're still holding true at almost 2,100 viewers. So you guys have been very loyal and sticking with me here. So this is great. I'm very glad that I'm here. Very glad to be here with you guys. So again, this is all part of the idea of visualizing yourself as the creator, that you are not just part of the creator, but to actually see yourself as the creator. Visualize your own heart as the great central sun. Visualize your breath as the breath that creates the universe out of all space and time, out of that original manifested photon. This is actually something you can do. We'll do this in the meditation coming up here in a minute. Your heart and your breath become the universal heartbeat. You breathe out stress and you breathe in calmness. You breathe in relaxation. And this is beautiful. Life is bathing you in a resonance of love and light as you see yourself as a perfect hologram of the cosmos. Unity, love, light, and joy. This is the core. Law of One said this is the core of the big teaching of what we need to be and how we need to function. In 4D, do we eat or do we wear clothes? Well, you do apparently create a light broth of some kind that people drink. I don't know about clothes. I think we probably do wear garments like robes. Wow, Laura T just donated $200 right at the end. Incredible. That is an incredible gift. Thank you very, very much. And I'm very appreciative of that. So, wow, that just really made my day. Thank you very much. And all of this is proof we're living in a divine holographic world. You're right, Gary Hyder. That's exactly what it is. That's why it's so significant. So you are a perfect hologram of the cosmos. And just like the heartbeat actually causes gravitational attraction, the more you open your heart, the more you can gather around people who are loving and supporting you. That's a very important point. And just like what I'm having to go through right now, no matter what may happen to you, do not lose hope. Just try to stay as positive as you can, reaffirming your connection with the loving creator that made the universe, and be at peace in the midst of chaos. Take some time in life to appreciate the small things. That's the next one here that we've got. Whoops, let's do that again. Take some time to appreciate the small things. And we had another donation come in. The best is yet to come, says Jacob. Sure, focus on the ascension. Well, thank you very much, Jacob. We really appreciate your donation. So you want to take time to appreciate those small things in life, and that's something that we often forget about. Inherit the wholeness that you are already made of. You are the universe. You are the creator. Become that which you already are. And never forget that you are loved. You are surrounded by beings that want to help you, They can't necessarily manifest in front of you right now because it's not the right time in our history yet, but they are around and they do love you very much, and you can be with them just in spirit and tune in. We'll do a little of that in there as well. We'll do the heartbeat, becoming the creator. We'll do beings surrounding you. We'll do that stuff in our upcoming meditation here. Again, allow yourself to make mistakes and be humble. Don't criticize yourself for things that go wrong. You can teach positivity. You can live by example. And again, that's what I'm trying to do here. Oh, 7 geometric thought forms. I sent you a package about 6 days ago, contents valuing around $800. An important letter. Okay, thank you. I'll check that out. Honestly, I haven't even been opening anything. I've been so busy dealing with what I'm dealing with. But I appreciate that. So anyway, the theory is a bit hard to understand, but my heart says it's right. Well, we're going to need a little more time, but that's good. I mean, I've got every week. I do this every week, and we also have a class coming up. I'll make it a lot more sense. Sabrina Robidoux donated again, and we had Trine Eller Catherine. She donated as well. $49.99, Sabrina Robidoux. Thank you very much. What a wonderful show. Sundays are so fun. I love you, David. I'm glad that we were able to get that done. Oh my gosh, yeah, we don't need anybody dropping keywords, okay? I don't know why you did that. But anyway, teach positivity, live by example. Whoops. Understand that it's not going to stay like this forever, man. We are going through something that will shift. Very amazing changes are on our imminent horizon for the future. And we remember the hero's journey mandating that we will have a positive global conclusion to everything that is going on right now. So do your part to co-create our global healing, stepping into your authentic self, affirming your own infinite worth. That's another law of one quote, like seeing yourself as a creator. Recognize you are a being of infinite worth. Understand the radiance of your being. It's a very important point. And allow yourself to grieve. We talked about feeling rather than controlling your emotions. Control is negative. You want to be able to feel everything that you're going through. Practice honesty with yourself and others. That's another really important one. And give the gift of your attention to those in need. If somebody really needs you to hear from you, you can give them your attention. You don't have to leave them behind. Embracing that path of helping other people, serving others, recognizing the opportunity you have in the present moment. Defining your optimal life and then taking those steps. That's another really good one. So you want to define, what do you want to be in life? How do you want to live? And what would be the best that you could be? How can you take those steps? And how can you, how do you live the best life that you can live? And what does that really involve for you? Well, you can define that. And then that's the direction of the will. We had a lot of stuff today on the direction of the will. Waking up and visualizing what it is that you want to accomplish. My mother was talking about this, where you project into the end of the day and see yourself succeeding on all the things that you wish to accomplish. Transforming your pain into motivation. This is something I love to do. If you have these painful things that are driving you crazy, instead of letting it drag you down, you use the pain as a springboard to motivate yourself to push beyond your own limitations. And you allow others to be where they are without controlling them. It's another very important one. That's the principle of detachment and the control thing we talked about earlier from Law of One. Opening up new vistas of awareness for you. Again, I always recommend the healthy diet, practicing self-respect as much as possible. I'm tweaking my diet right now, given that there's very limited food here. I'm still having crazy constipation, crazy problems with my diet, but I'm trying because there's so little available food that's organic in my region, unless I want to drive like a half an hour. So I'm still trying to dial in all the components, but I'm getting closer and closer. Another one is to healthily push beyond your own limitations. Go beyond what you think you can do. Keep striving to be better at what you're doing. Taking an inventory of your strengths and weaknesses, I think that's extremely important. And tuning into the heartbeat of the universe. Again, your heartbeat is holographically connected to the whole universe. Appreciating the vibrations of sacred music. That was a great way to get into touch with the harmonics. and let love flow through you like a river. A beautiful meditation right there. Visualizing your own angelic guides and helpers. We'll do that in a minute here. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. That's something we always forget. Share the love that is within you. And also, as Loveland was telling us, see others, oops, I spelled that wrong. That's how fast I was working. As the perfected beings they are. All right. Well, that is bringing us up to, yes, practice controlling your thoughts, another good one. I eat 3 fiber gummies every night to stay regular. It's like candy, but it works. Yes, that was amazing information. So yes, we'll do more on harmonics. This is something I'm just scratching the surface of. We can do the Nineveh constant. We can do all kinds of interesting things. The solar heartbeat is not something we're just going to leave behind. We're going to come back to it, but it'll all make sense as we do. So thank you guys very much for what you're sharing with us and what you're giving to us. And thank you for being here. So without further ado, I think it's a good time for us to do our global peace meditation. And this is extremely important because, again, all the things that we've covered all come back to how are we living and how are we redefining our lives. We got 10 minutes. Let's get into it right now. Okay. All of what you said today, David, was like a novel. All right, says Wade Woodruff. Okay, so I'd like everybody now, close your eyes, put both feet flat on the floor, take a nice deep breath. Just let it go. Follow that path of your breath. Take a nice deep breath again. And just relax, release, unwind. Let yourself just breathe away the stress. Remembering to know yourself, that you are a hologram of the one infinite creator. The creation itself has a great heartbeat. We saw this in quotes today. And that heartbeat is mirrored in your own body, in your own consciousness. It is a part of you, and you are it, and you are inseparable. Living in that glorious radiance, that glorious truth. Feeling ourselves changing, feeling ourselves redefining as we breathe into the stillness of the moment, as we give the gift to ourselves of the breath work and the radiance. We allow ourselves to be redefined by who and what we really are. Living in the complexities and the knowingness of what is right and what is true and what is all there is. Unity, love, light, and joy, the heart of the creation. Knowing yourself, accepting yourself, becoming the creator. Visualizing your own heart and the beating of your own heart as the holographic connection to the great central sun, to the oscillating vibration of our own star, the rising and falling of the sun's own surface, creating a heartbeat that perfectly defines the spacing and the orbits of the planets. Feeling at peace in the knowingness that we are perfect holograms of the creation, that we are not simply cut off, left behind, but we have always been unified with that whole, unified with the all there is, with what truly has made us into the spiritual beings that we are. We are so grateful for this radiance, so grateful for this time to be together today, to share in the knowingness of who and what we are. We visualize these wonderful beings of light surrounding us now, beaming in frequencies of love and healing and peace, giving us a sense of our own majesty, our own infinite worth, reminding us of where we really belong and where we will strive to be better and better at being human in every moment through the practice of these ancient principles of spiritual healing and understanding. Thank you, Miles Servin. Thank you for Carmen. Talk about that a little later. Stay in your meditation now. If anything comes up like an ad, you just hit skip and you stay right in the meditation. I want you to keep on focusing on your deep breath. Focus on how you can be able to embody the universal heartbeat. You can embody that loving resonance that spreads all around and has never really been far away from you, but is always inside, always a part of you, always redefining who and what you are and how you function in this grand universe. So grateful for the time that we have together, so grateful for the time that we share. As you follow the action of your breathing now, imagine that you are like the surface of a star. Visualize the sun rising and falling on its surface as you visualize your own breath rising and falling. See these different pulsations on the sun's surface like your heart rate and your breathing. Exact numbers of minutes. How strange is that? Is the sun based on a clock? Did the Sumerians who came up with those time measurements look at the vibrations of the sun and derive them, the numbers of minutes that they used, the seconds, from these observations? Yes, I believe they did. 1 second of time gives us these beautiful harmonic numbers. Everything divides into 144, 12 times 12. So many beautiful things to explore in harmonics. And recognize that you are a harmonic being. The more that you vibrate in love and resonance and peace, the more that you become like the microcluster iridium. That as your loving vibration increases, you too may be able to levitate, to dematerialize, to transform into a new density, transforming the very particles of your body themselves into something that goes beyond who you ever thought you could be, and transforms you into a new definition of yourself, a new definition of what it means to be human, what it means to be whole, what it means to be pure in this moment. Opening your eyes, advancing your vibration. We recommend all of those things are done. There's so many light beings out there helping you. We are all here together, working as one, trying to find the best way we can to expand into the universe, to transform our consciousness, to redefine who we are, lovingly, spiritually, and in a sense of great unity and great compassion. We do not feel abandoned. We feel revivified by the oneness, revivified by this radiance that keeps us whole and pure and clean and complete. And we know that we are coming into a grand conjunction of events. Many things are happening that are upsetting. Many things are happening that challenge us to our very core. But this is not the end. This is just the beginning of a whole new phase of Earth's evolution, a phase that transforms us, a phase that redefines us, a phase that opens up whole new areas of study and understanding in ways that we cannot even imagine. And we are so grateful to be here right now. We are so grateful to be alive, so grateful to be at peace in this moment, at peace in the harmony of what is, the harmony that the universe gives us every moment, if we simply choose to look at it and perceive it for what it is. And we can say from the great Christian prayer, "Thine is the power and the kingdom and the glory forever and ever. Amen." And so it is. All right. So yes, I did see that we had a couple great donations come in. We had Miles Servin donate $100. He said, "I happen to be in Vegas this weekend. Rather than betting 100 on black, I figure you're a better bet. Keep up the great work." We had 4 Carmen. "I love the Sunday show. Material's been life-changing. Breath works for constipation." Okay, well, Definitely. Oh, Gerald Salenti here. Hello to everybody. Is that really true? Well, thank you. If that's really him, thank you for being here. Glad to see you. So anyway, God bless you, David. Thank you, David. Love. Yes, I'm very happy to have you guys here. Magnificent meditation on the heartbeat, says Vega. Bless you, says Orimo Art. Thank you, David, says Sherry Walker. Watch the alternative halftime show. I heard about that. I didn't know that they're doing one. Still got a lot of people here. Anybody have any questions? Is there anything that I said that you would like to have a little bit of clarification on? Because we have a couple minutes left. I love you, David, says Crystal Waters. Smile to every person you meet. Give a nod. I'm sure you'll get a smile back. Oh, Turning Point USA's alternative show. Okay, got it. So I love you all. It feels so connected when we meditate. I love it so much every time. Namaste. Gratitude, love, light, and positivity, harmony, passion, interconnectedness. What you give to others, you give to yourself. All right. Prayers and blessings from Australia. Thank you, Brother David. Love and light. Ghost Avadi. Yes, we are definitely making progress. You are amazing. Thanks for everything, and thanks for staying positive. Love and abundance from Australia. What is the class you speak about? I'm going to be doing a paid class coming up. It's definitely, it was too hard in the winter before to get through that and actually do something like this. We've had such bad wind. It's finally starting to calm down a little bit. But it's still pretty intense. Still not out of the wind yet. Thank you so much, David, for today, says Soul Coach Suzanne. It's so good to be with you as always. I love you. Especially the meditation is the best part. It's the most important. Are there others having digestive problems like David? Yes, I imagine there are. Beverly Adams donated. Thank you very much. Watching the beautiful sunset from my car, says Emily Howard. Beautiful meditation, says Lisa Garrett. Thank you again, David, says Joie de Vie. So much gratitude to you. What is everlasting rock? That's their thing that connects it to the Bible. The Rock of Ages and all that stuff having to do with Jesus. Thank you is not enough, says Ingrid Antoine Cezin. Thank you for giving me a therapy session today. It was much needed. All right, Sherry Walker donated $50. I really appreciate that. Chantel, I'm so proud of you and what you do. I love you, David. God bless you all. We love you, David. I hope you're not snowed under. No, we haven't had any snow. And thank you for any donations you send. You can also send them to the website, as she just posted again. We have exactly 1666 likes, 1,666 likes. Let's break that 666. Smash the like button while you still can. Let's get that number above 666. But that's the solar number. I mean, ultimately, that's what it means. So the lunar number being 1080, the fusion number, when you add the two together, 1746. Anyway, we're coming up on the 333 time limit. That's what I like to do. So we are going to cut this off now in just a few seconds here. But I want to thank you for being on the air with me. Thank you for spending time with me today. Very sorry in advance about everything else that's going on. I know it's very difficult for a lot of people, very difficult in your life, but try to take stock of what you can. Try to be positive. Try to focus on the good as much as you can. And we will be back, hopefully, as soon as possible. Let's, do what we can, try to be positive. I want to thank you guys, love you guys, and we'll see you on the next trip around. Thank you very much, and scene.